Part 44. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 435. Chapter 428, Huzhu Experience. Huzhu City is the capital of Huzhu Prefecture under the jurisdiction of Biao Province. A population of more than 100,000 is concentrated in this large city located on the lakeside plain. Su Junming, dressed in a green robe, walked over with a green bamboo staff and a yellow gourd hanging on his waist. After paying the city entry tax of 2 grains, he followed the flow of people into the city. Although the surrounding peddlers and shops are still as prosperous as before, looking at the beggars crowding the streets, we can see that the political situation of Daongjiang is deteriorating. Get out of the way, get out of the way. As the government officials brutally drove them away, countless people were driven aside with water and fire sticks. Su Junming frowned slightly, but did not take action and retreated to the side. After the government officials cleared the streets, a large group of carriages and horses came forward. He was surrounded by knights wearing bright clothes and angry horses. A large flag was held high next to it. Prince Jingnan's mansion. Old man, who is this king of Jingnan? He actually travels in a sedan with a capacity of 16. This has violated the ancestral rule set by the Taizhou of this dynasty, which states that the official sedans of princes and princes cannot carry more than 12 people. Isn't he afraid that the emperor will find out and punish him? The person who spoke was a young scholar. From the look of him, it was obvious that he was also a passionate young man. Next to him, an old man with grey hair wearing a patched coarse cloth turned his head and examined him for a moment. Are you from a foreign country? I'm Zhao Sanjian. I passed by here on my way to Beijing to take the exam. It's strange that I have to know. Let me tell you, this King Jingnan is General Daong Longxiang. He is in charge of the 200,000 square foot Nan army in Biao province. Not to mention violating the ancestral system, even if he chops off the head of the prefect of Huzhu, the emperor won't say anything. In this Biao province, Jingnan King Lu Ziwen is this. The old man pointed towards the sky. Damn it, this man is really bold. I have to take part in the Jinluan Palace examination in the future, Zhao Sanjian said angrily. Su Junming glanced at him. Zhao Sanjian had little official aura and little fortune. Even if he went to Beijing to take the exam, he would not be able to reach the imperial examination. After the car from Jingnan Palace passed by, the government officials no longer blocked the street, and the still wide street became prosperous again. After Su Junming walked forward for a certain distance, he turned to the right, passed through several alleys, and came to the outside of a dilapidated courtyard. After briefly taking a look at the courtyard wall, which was made of compacted earth blocks and supplemented by straw in the middle, he walked in through the firewood door opened on the side. The yard is very simple, but it is very clean, and the clotheslines nearby are full of drying herbs. Some ragged women and children were lining up. At the end of the team was a doctor wearing a green shirt and a short beard. It can be seen that this doctor is not rich either. The green shirt on his body is full of patches. Even if it is intact, it is a little white from the starch. However, despite his ragged clothes, the doctor exuded a kind and trustworthy temperament. Gentle, and approachable. At this moment, he was taking the pulse of a middle-aged woman. Looking at the woman's clothes, one can tell that she does not come from a wealthy family. All right. Doctor, can my disease be cured? The woman asked with concern. It can be cured. Real. The doctor in green shirt smiled and nodded, stood up, took a few packets of medicine from the bamboo basket next to him, and handed them to the woman. Take these medicines back and take them twice a day after meals. Come to me for them after eating. Contact fee and medicine fee. There is no need for consultation fees or medication fees. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. The woman left with a lot of gratitude. The people behind him followed, and throughout the morning, there was an endless stream of people coming here to see doctors, almost all of whom were poor people and beggars. Finally, when there were fewer people around at noon, the scholar took out a steamed bun, soaked it in hot water, and finished his lunch with pickles. After eating, he still held a book treatise on febrile and miscellaneous diseases in his hand and read it non-stop. There were a lot less people in the afternoon. It was busy until the evening, and then the doors were closed. Compared with lunch, dinner only has a little more wild vegetable porridge. After dinner, the scholar first took out a pen and paper and wrote down his experience of today's medical treatment. After pondering for a moment, he put it away and took out a wooden box from the bookcase with great care. After opening it, he removed the outer layer of oilcloth and took out a navy blue thread-bound book from inside. The scholar put the book on the table, turned the pages gently, and read the contents aloud. You can see a layer of milky white brilliance, which becomes stronger little by little as the scholar reads. The aura of creation. Su Junming thought. He is indeed a good candidate for practicing the Tao of creation. In just 1 year, without any teaching, he was able to form the talisman of creation in his danshan, which is much faster than I did. A gentle voice came from Su Junming's left side. Su Junming nodded slightly, turned around, and looked at the woman next to him who was wearing a green sarong, holding a cane, her hair wrapped in a silk scarf, and with a birthmark on her left cheek. It seems you think highly of him. To be able to use his mortal body to treat illnesses and save people without fear of danger, and has persisted for 3 years, this kind of perseverance is something that most people don't have. I believe that he can complete 300,000 good deeds in 100 years. Su Junming nodded slightly. If this is the case, you will have one more good disciple, and our Chongshan sect will have one more direct disciple. The woman nodded in agreement and gathered her skirt as a gift. Xiao Xian pays homage to his mentor. No need to be polite, just get up. Looking at his third disciple whom he had not seen for a long time. Yes, the nascent soul has reached consummation. I have to thank my mentor for his guidance. He waved his hand. You and I, master and disciple, don't have to be polite. Let's go to your place. As soon as he took a step, the figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, it was already a small courtyard surrounded by various flowers and a quiet environment. He glanced at the fruit-laden pomegranate tree in the middle of the yard and changed his gaze. In the hall next to her, a little girl of about 8 or 9 years old with braids, a floral dress, an apple face and big eyes ran out from inside. Master! After looking at Su Junming warily, he shouted and ran straight towards Qiao Shaoxin. Come over. Holding the little girl's hand, she walked to Su Junming. Master, this is a disciple that my disciple has taken in over the years. His name is Gongsun Juniang. Juniang, come and kowtow to master. The little girl knelt down obediently and kowtowed 3 times to Su Junming. Juniang pays homage to the master. After Su Junming smiled and nodded, he raised his hand, and a secret energy surged out, lifting Gongsun Juniang up. At the same time, a milky white lotus flower, carrying a Huishan spirit talisman, flew to Gongsun Juniang. This lotus is not the lotus in the creation spirit pond in Su Junming's backyard, but a middle-grade magic weapon that he used to practice spiritual energy. This is the meeting gift given to you by Master. Gongsun Juniang, who has been practicing with Qiao Shaoxin for 3 years and has already reached the advanced stage of innate cultivation, recognized at a glance that the 2 treasures given by her master were extraordinary. I really wanted to, but I still looked at my master with questioning eyes. Take it. Gongsun Juniang accepted it with joy on her face. Thank you, master, for the treasure. Go inside and practice the treasures given by master. Yes, master. Gongsun Juniang's face was full of joy and she ran towards the quiet room. After her back disappeared, Su Junming turned his head. Xiao Xian, If Juneyang cannot pass the postgraduate entrance examination of the Earth God sect, she will not be able to become a direct disciple of my Chongshan lineage. My disciple knows. However, Juneyang is a natural Taoist with 108 meridians. She has excellent understanding and a benevolent and filial nature. After being taught by my disciple, I believe she can pass the test of the Earth God section. Su Junming nodded and didn't say much. The rules have been set. In the future, if Gongsun Juneyang cannot get through the divine sect, he will be just like Su Yang and can only be a registered disciple. With a finger, the soil surged underground and quickly formed 2 stone benches. Sit. After the two sat down, Su Junming looked up. I believe you already know the secret of the birthmark on your left cheek, right? Chiao Shaoxin nodded. Aren't you ready to break it and take it for your own use? My disciple is confident that he can survive the heavenly tribulation of the soul. The innate Taisa created spiritual energy in this birthmark will be used by my disciple when he attacks the immortal path in the future. That's fine. It's just that one of the created auras is most suitable for you, and it can be used as the lotus flower as your natal spiritual treasure. Chiao Shaoxin smiled faintly, and with a movement in his heart, a 3-legged copper furnace slowly flew up from the Baihui point. Lotus flowers are not the only treasures that are suitable as natal spiritual treasures. Top spiritual treasure. Su Junming was proficient in weapon refining, and when he saw the 3-legged bronze tripod, he recognized its grade. This godly furnace of creation was obtained by a disciple in an ancient cave deep in Dangian Mountain. It is a spiritual treasure of creation that completes the 12 spiritual taboos. At the same time, there is also a green lotus creation sutra and a green lotus pill on one side. The scriptures were obtained by the disciples. Chiao Shaoxin opened his palms and flew 2 jade slips towards Su Junming. With the help of the immersion of his spiritual consciousness, Bian quickly saw the contents clearly. What a wonderful way to practice the Tao of creation. With Su Junming's experience and vision after reading thousands of scriptures, there are very few techniques that he can call exquisite. From this we can also see the mystery of the Green Lotus Creation Sutra. However, compared to the cultivation methods, the elixirs in the Green Lotus Alchemy Sutra were more helpful to him. Especially the prescriptions containing 3 elixirs are extremely valuable. Putting down the jade slip, he looked at Chiao Shaoxin. Your good fortune and luck are truly the envy of all teachers. Not to mention the far ones, but the nearby ones, in addition to this godly furnace of creation, as Su Junming knew, Chiao Shaoxin also obtained 2 spiritual treasures, a Dongming-level spiritual root named Xianqing Willow. Although Su Junming obtained more treasures during this period, the trophies he obtained after killing his enemies were still far behind Chiao Shaoxin's relaxed and happy chance encounters. Chiao Shaoxin slapped the gourd on his waist, and a magic sword and a purple ruyi flew out. Master, these are the 2 spiritual treasures I have obtained. Please take them. Su Junming waved his hand. It's good that you have such filial piety. Your master, I am a weapon refiner, and I have no shortage of treasures on hand. Just keep these 2 spiritual treasures for your disciples. Chiao Shaoxin, who knew his character, saw that he persisted, nodded, and took the treasure back. Master, Ning Keichin has understood the talisman of creation, but he has not practiced it. If he continues to understand it, I am afraid that his body will not be able to bear it, so can I allow my disciple to teach him the Daoist first, so that he can lay a good foundation first? This will also prevent you from wasting your time in the future. The physical body and magical power are the foundation for carrying the Great Road. If the foundation is insufficient, it will naturally not be able to carry more powerful talismans. How many good deeds has Ning Keichin completed so far? There are already 16,780. Is it all from practicing medicine? Chiao Shaoxin nodded. He went up the mountain to collect the herbs himself, dried them, and then treated the poor and beggars for free. I never thought he had such superb medical skills. Master is wrong. Ning Keichin has only read some medical books and does not understand medical skills. It is just that he is talented, willing to work hard, and is good at summarizing, so his medical skills have improved rapidly. In recent years, not only the poor and beggars, but also many a young wealthy man came to him for consultation. All the money he received from the consultation was used to buy medicine and help the poor, so his good deeds could be accumulated so quickly. Su Junming nodded and smiled. I am afraid you reminded him of accumulating good deeds by practicing medicine, right? Chiao Shaoxin smiled. Nothing can be hidden from master. The disciple also considers that he is a scholar. Although he is not said to be incapable of tying a chicken, he is not much different. Compared with other things, medical skills are more suitable for him. Moreover, the disciple is also good at Qiwang's technique, and also has give him some advice if you can. And if he can achieve something, 300,000 people in this world can relieve their suffering. It is really a great merit. Su Junming nodded. It seems that you are very dedicated to this future disciple. The master treated his disciples as his own children, raised them with all his heart, and taught them to become successful. Now, as disciples, of course they must follow the example of their mentor. Haha, you little girl is now good at flattering me. After a pause, since you want to teach him Taoist, then go ahead and teach him. But you are only allowed to teach his skills, not his spells. Yes, disciple, keep this in mind. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 436. The vast ocean represents endless mystery. In order to pry into this mystery, countless monks and mortal ships have rushed into it for thousands of years. Even if you hide in the belly of a fish, you can't stop this craze. As the domestic situation in Daeong becomes more and more turbulent, more and more immigrants are fleeing to overseas islands to survive. Daewon Port, which is close to the East China Sea, is now particularly prosperous. Hundreds of ships, large and small, filled the harbor. Restaurants and warehouses are lined up in rows, making it a bustling place. Along with the flow of people entering Daewon Harbor from all directions, a young Taoist riding a green ox and holding a bamboo staff also arrived here. Master, this place is very prosperous. A rich voice came from King Yu's body. Su Junming nodded. This Daewon port is the largest port in Daeong East China Sea, and now it seems that it is indeed a bit majestic. It smells so good. Seeing the longing in the eyes of the sitting green cow, Su Junming tapped its head with a bamboo stick. Stop being greedy and leave quickly. Ever since he left Huzhu City, Su Junming had brought Kuei Niu out of the Daihuang mountain cave and let him serve as his legion across thousands of miles to Daewon port. Traveling all the way to the mountains and rivers, punishing rapes and eradicating evil, I am satisfied with the addiction of cultivating immortality and traveling thousands of miles. Now that I have arrived at Daewon port, I have to go out to sea and visit overseas scenery to see if I can find the ancient dragon court that is said to have sunk into the eyes of the East China Sea. Sir, Lao Niu has traveled hundreds of miles all the way from Dengzhou. I'm tired and hungry. Why don't we find a restaurant to have a meal and rest before we hit the road? Thinking of how hard it was for him to act as his own leg all the way, and the fact that Su Junming was not in a hurry to go to sea, he nodded and agreed. Stepping off the bull, the green bull had a flash of inspiration and transformed into a tall man wearing a purple robe, a belt around his waist, and a sturdy back. The pedestrians around him saw fear in their eyes and hurriedly hid aside. The two walked into the city one after the other. Sir, I think the Han-style restaurant is good. Looking along Kuei Niu's finger, he saw a 3-story, luxurious building with a flag hanging high on the outer wall and the inscription Hanfeng Restaurant coming into view. Obviously, Hanfeng Restaurant is one of the best restaurants in Daewon Harbor. Su Junming had a lot of money in his pocket, so he didn't care where he ate. Seeing that the restaurant was good, he nodded. The two walked away. The closer you get, the more you realize how luxurious this Han-style restaurant is. Not to mention the carved jade railings, but also the high eaves, layers of vermilion paint, no expense was spared, and the decoration is extraordinarily brilliant. The two came to the door and climbed up the steps. Seeing them, the waiter felt his scalp numb. The green-robed Taoist holding a bamboo stick in front was tall enough. The big man in purple following him had big arms and a round waist, a lion's nose and a wide mouth. Between the steps of a dragon and a tiger, he seemed to be pressed by a small mountain. That powerful momentum made the waiter feel a little cramped in his calves. "Hey, little brother, why don't you greet the guests when you see them?" Seeing the waiter in a daze, Kuei Niu shouted impatiently. With an idea in his mind, the waiter hurriedly stepped forward. Two guests, please come inside." Knowing that he was afraid, Su Junming smiled and said nothing more. "Follow him inside." The stature of the two people naturally blinked, but that was fine, no one dared to catch their attention. Glancing at the almost full hall on the ground floor, Su Junming frowned slightly. He didn't like the hustle and bustle. "Second brother, are there private seats on the second floor?" Yes, but the private seats on the second floor are more expensive than those on the first floor." "It doesn't matter. Take us there." Seeing that his tone was kind, the waiter in the shop calmed down a little, and at least he stopped stammering when he spoke. Taking the two of them upstairs, it turned out that there were much fewer people here than on the first floor, and the environment was much quieter. Seeing that they didn't seem to be short of money, the waiter said at the right time, "If you two feel dissatisfied here, we have private rooms on the third floor, and you can also listen to music." "No, just stay here." Su Junming found a window seat and sat down. "Two guests, what would you like to order?" "Our steamed sea bass, 3 yellow snowflake chicken." Su Junming said, waving his hand to interrupt him. "No need, just have a portion of your specialty dishes." After saying that, he looked at Kuei Niu. "Order what you want to eat." "Hey," Kuei Niu rubbed his hands. "Waiter, do you have any wine here?" "Yes. We have good Osmanthus wine, Chinjia old wine, and Mizhu wine here. They are all well-known wines." Kuei Niu rubbed his hands excitedly. "Great, let's bring 10 altars up to Grandpa." 10 altars. Seeing his stunned look, Kuei Niu stared. "What, are you afraid Grandpa can't afford the drink?" In an instant, the waiter felt a fierce aura coming towards his face. He immediately stepped back in shock and fell to the ground. "Do you want to scare him to death?" Su Junming said angrily. Kuei Niu rubbed his head nonchalantly. He did not dare to act like a monster in front of his murderous master. "Didn't this just break through and you still haven't been able to control your momentum?" Kuei Niu muttered that on the way to Daewon Port, he had just broken through to nascent soul consummation. In addition, he followed Su Junming to slay demons and demons all the way, and the evil aura on his body was extremely shocking. With a flick of his fingers, a ray of spiritual light flew out from Su Junming's fingertips. After entering Kuei Niu's body, the vicious aura on his body dissipated instantly like a kite with its string broken. The waiter felt that the pressure was greatly reduced in an instant. He wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and walked over shakily. Su Junming took out an ingot of 20 taels of silver from his sleeve robe. "You just serve good wine and good food. If you have more money, you will get back more money and less time to make up for it. It is said that money opens the eyes." When the waiter saw the white money, his legs instantly healed, the fear in his heart disappeared, and a smile appeared on his face. He took the money with both hands, nodded and bowed. "Don't worry, gentlemen, the food and wine will be brought to you soon." After that, he ran downstairs in a hurry. Looking at his back, Kuei Niu shook his big head. "Grandpa, these people are greedy for money. If I had known, Master Niu would have taken out the money earlier. Su Junming didn't bother to pay attention to this guy, and turned to look out the window. Although the terrain here is not high, you can still appreciate the bustling streets of Daewongang. The white sails on the dock in the distance can also be faintly heard. Masters, the drinks and dishes you ordered are here. It didn't take long, and the waiter who had just left brought a few waiters with him to bring out the food and wine. After a while, a large table was filled. Sir, you want too much wine, and we can't put it here for a while. Do you think you can drink it first, and when you finish drinking it, we can serve it to you? Kuei Niu nodded his big head. Just do as you say. By the way, give Grandpa some more meat, these are not enough. Okay, let's get ready now. The waiter left quickly. Master, hey, I'll eat that first. Su Junming waved his hand. Eat, restrain yourself, don't leave your leftovers everywhere. Yes, yes, don't worry, Lao Niu, will promise to be polite this time. Even so, when he stuffed a whole roasted chicken into his mouth, Su Junming knew that the word gentle was insulated from this tough guy under his sect. Not too lazy to say anything more, Su Junming took off the green gourd from his waist, removed the stopper, Gilo took a sip, picked up the chopsticks, put some of the food and wine he was interested in into his mouth, and slowly tasted the delicacies of this world. Get out of the way, it's irresponsible to bump into someone. A rude voice broke into Su Junming's ears. Hey, you man doesn't know there are many people in the downtown area. Do you want to go slower? You almost hit someone. A certain family has long warned you to give way. If you had been obedient, how could we have collided with each other? Hey, you man is unreasonable. Listening to the quarrel, Su Junming frowned and looked down. I saw a rough-looking man wearing a coarse cloth, with his arms open, revealing countless twisted black hairs on his chest, pushing a wooden cart toward the downtown area, carrying a cart full of pears. Because he was traveling too fast, many pedestrians were unable to dodge and were almost injured by him, so the crowd became excited and began to blame him. However, everyone was afraid of this strong man and did not dare to teach him a lesson. This man is so rude. Master, do you want me to teach him a lesson? You don't need to do anything, someone is already there. Following his gaze, a middle-aged Taoist priest wearing a blue robe suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. That Taoist priest, why don't you get out of the way quickly? After shouting, the man pushing the pears saw that he was indifferent, so he pushed the cart and hit it regardless. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 437. Chapter 430, Taoist priest planting pear. Looking at the cart rushing towards him, the middle-aged Taoist priest was not afraid, and his expression was as calm as before. Seeing him like this, a hint of ferocity flashed deep in the middle-aged man's eyes, but it quickly disappeared. Creak, seeing that the big cart was about to hit the Taoist priest, when everyone screamed, the cart weighing hundreds of kilograms was forcibly pulled by the middle-aged man. Su Junming noticed something strange and moved the bronze mirror in his dantian to take a look. I see, who is this man? Wu Na Taoist, will you get out of the way? Infinite Heavenly Lord, a poor Taoist was thirsty, so he asked a layman for a pear to eat. Rolling, 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 a certain family goes to bed at midnight and works in the fields every day. It's hard to get this cart of good pears. They are preparing to take it to the market to sell it in exchange for some money to help the whole family. What can I do? You Taoist priest beats the autumn wind. You are such an unreasonable man. I only want a pear from you. It's only a few pennies. I won't let you help the young and old. Why are you so stingy? A few pennies are not money. Leave quickly. If you don't leave, be careful and I will report you to the police. Just as the Taoist was about to speak, an old woman carrying a basket came over. Taoist priest, this man is fierce and stingy. You'd better not fight with him. The old lady just bought a few pears at the market, so I'll give you one. As he spoke, he took out a yellow-orange pear from the basket and handed it to the Taoist priest. The middle-aged Taoist hesitated for a moment and then took it. Thank you, old layman. You are welcome. When he got there, he wiped the pear on his old Taoist robe, put it in his mouth, and bit it. The juice flowed out, and the fruity aroma overflowed. It is indeed a good pear. After eating it in 3 or 2 bites, only the pear core was left in my hand. The Taoist priest shook it in his hand, glanced at everyone, and said loudly, monks never stingy with things. I also have good pears here. Please taste them together. Are you bragging? You have pears, but you insist on eating them from others. Someone with good intentions shouted loudly. Everyone was talking about everything. The Taoist priest smiled and said, I want to use this pear as a seed. After saying that, he pulled out a wooden sword from his waist and thrust it into the ground. The blue stone on the ground was broken instantly like powder. Everyone saw him digging out the blue stone, digging up the soil, and burying the pear core in his hand. Pandeo still lacks some water for watering. I wonder if any layman can provide some. I'll come, I have it here. Everyone stepped aside, and a waiter walked over carrying a kettle. Taoist master, I have water here. Seeing his expression of watching the excitement, the Taoist smiled faintly, thanked him, took the kettle, and Gila poured all the water down in one go. After returning the empty kettle to the waiter, I saw him shaking his head like a witch. When people around him saw this scene, they all felt that this man must be incompetent. He was talking and laughing, just like watching a monkey playing on the street. But Su Junming discovered the clue. This guy is really interesting. He makes false claims in the East and attacks in the West. He steals the news and replaces it with others. Kuei Niu took one look at it and continued eating and drinking without caring. Anyway, nothing can be done to this master of his own. He just does his part and doesn't need to worry about the rest. Long, long. The middle-aged Taoist shouted 3 times. But I saw a small bud sprouting from the ground, and then it quickly grew taller in front of everyone's stunned eyes. Within half a quarter of an hour, a tall pear tree appeared in the middle of the road. Then, small white flowers grew out of the leafy pear tree. The white flowers fell, and the small green pears quickly grew from the size of a fingertip to the size of an adult's fist, and quickly changed from green to yellow. Looking at the big yellow pears hanging on the branches, everyone around them seemed to be still dreaming. The middle-aged Taoist glanced vaguely at the man opposite him who was completely attracted by his attention, and said loudly, everyone, if you are a poor Taoist, you can eat as much as you like if you have pears. His words brought everyone back to their senses. There was a bit of hesitation at the beginning, but when the first person ran up to him, everyone, fearing that they would not get a good deal, all ran up at once. In an instant, crowds of people surged and the streets became chaotic. Taking this opportunity, the middle-aged Taoist made a finger gesture, and his figure gradually became blurred. The big man pushing the pear looked at the scene in front of him with a trace of struggle on his face. Visible to the naked eye, a ray of spiritual light dissipated, and the stunned expression disappeared. Looking at the empty cart, a surge of anger surged into my heart. Damn bastard, how dare you steal my hard-earned jade pear? Just as he was about to go to the middle-aged Taoist priest to settle accounts, his heart moved slightly. He turned his head and looked at the few rays of light flying in the sky behind him, and his expression suddenly changed. These Kunlun sex bull noses are really haunting. Abandoning the cart, he flashed and disappeared into the numerous lanes of Daewon Port. At this moment, in a forest outside Daewon Harbor, light flashed, and the figure of the middle-aged Taoist priest who had previously planted pears appeared. After seeing that there was no one around, he slapped the Dharma bag and a triangular Dharma flag fell to the ground. The formation was derived, and after isolating the surroundings, his figure disappeared instantly. He sat down with a look of excitement on his face. Master He I have made a fortune, and I unexpectedly met Kunlun's abandoned disciple Hezo Tao here. I heard that this guy stole the immortal Route 7 treasures immortal gourd that grows on the White Crane Cliff in Kunlun, and 96 jade pears. Although I have not yet obtained the 7 treasures immortal gourd, with these 47 jade pears, Master Dao, my cultivation will be one step closer. I can't say that the final soul is in sight. While talking to himself, he reached out and touched his sleeve, his excited expression instantly dulled. Where are my pears? An angry voice sounded from the forest. His grandma's pears were stolen by that turtle grandson. At this time, in the restaurant, Su Junming was holding a pear in his hand that could be punched twice more than an adult's fist. It had a faint aura and was green in color, like fine jade. After weighing it, he put it in his mouth and bit it. Instantly, the rich and sweet juice soaked the lips and tongue. The rich fruity wood fragrance, accompanied by the rich fragrance, goes straight into the heart. This pear is really good. The spiritual energy is so rich. At least it is the spiritual root of high-grade insight. The spiritual root of the Dongming level is a good thing. Although Su Junming has conquered countless demons, he also gained the accumulation of the Black Heart Demon sect, Chongyang Dao, and the Longjiang aquatic tribe. There are only 8 or 9 Dongming level spiritual roots in his hand. Spiritual fruits are even rarer. In addition to a Longan with a middle grade insight when slaying the Black Heart Demon cult, I also got a golden spirit fruit with a perfect insight from the Longjiang Shui tribe. Fortunately, it was these 2 spiritual roots that gave Su Junming a chance to refine the 9 yellow pills. Master, where did these pears come from? Can you give me a taste of them, old Niu? He looked at Kuei Niu, whose eyes were staring straight at the pears in his hand, almost drooling. Thinking that I had a lot of pears with my hands, it wouldn't hurt to eat 1 or 2 and use the rest to make elixirs. Throw it away. Kuei Niu quickly stretched out his hand to catch it. In recognition of your hard work along the way, Master Xiangli will give it to you. Remember to keep the seeds after eating. Thank you, sir, for being considerate of me. As he spoke, he opened his big mouth and bit down with a click. It's delicious, it's delicious. This pear is so delicious. Master, the spiritual energy of this pear is so strong. It should be a cave-level spiritual fruit. I didn't expect that you, an old cow, still have some eyesight. My teachings were not in vain. He, of course. Lao Niu follows the master and never dares to slack off in his practice. Otherwise, if he goes out with the master in the future, wouldn't it be an embarrassment to the master? Su Junming glanced at him. Although this old cow is lazy and greedy, he does practice hard. Since following him in the ruins of Kunlun in the Chinese world until now, he has traveled all the way from Jindan to Yuanying, and from Yuanying to Yuanshen. Moreover, what I have comprehended is the relatively difficult method of cultivating the Thunder Path. Although it has the blessing of Kuei Niu bloodline in its body, it has a good talent. But being able to break through the 2 major realms of Yuanying and Yuanshen within 100 years is also an important reason for his hard work in cultivation. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 438. Sir, when did our Daihuang mountain have such a Dongming spiritual root? You didn't make an elixir, and you were willing to give it to me. Sir, I am also generous to others. Although Su Junming did not regard illusion as his main Taoist practice, it did not mean that he did not understand it at all. When the middle-aged Taoist priest took action, he discovered it. However, The Taoist priest was also smart. He did not directly cast the illusion, but played a trick of Taoist priest planting pear, which made the man slowly let down his guard and fell into his illusion. Then he used his skill to steal the pears out of the man's magic bag. The only thing that surprised Su Junming was that the Taoist priest actually used the Hushan method. However, he did not understand the way of Hushan, but mastered a Hushan magic weapon, whose function is similar to the Hushan spiritual talisman refined by Su Junming. Su Junming saw the actions of the middle-aged Taoist priest. If the man was a kind person, he would not hesitate to help. But although the resentment on the other side is not heavy, it is still quite a lot. If Su Junming hadn't worried that this place was in a busy city, he would have killed him long ago to eliminate harm to the people. Therefore, when he saw the middle-aged Taoist priest trying to seize the spiritual fruit in his opponent's bag, Su Junming took action in advance and took the pear into his own hands. Of course, by taking advantage of the situation, I also got a big treasure. His spiritual consciousness was immersed in the space inside the Taoist robe. In addition to the familiar spiritual treasures and elixirs, there were more than 40 large jade pears and a huge boulder about 10 feet high. This boulder is plump at the top and bottom but narrow in the middle. It is half gray and half white in color, with the upper half pale white and the lower half blue-black. The white part exudes rich aura of creation. The blue-black part exudes rich Wuyuta spiritual energy. At first glance, the shape of the boulder looks like a crane standing on the rock, about to spread its wings and fly. An emerald green vine as thick as an adult's thigh grew out of the rock and grew around the rocks. The leaves the size of a water tank are enchantingly green. The rich spiritual energy of Yumu is extremely powerful. Among the broad leaves, flowers in 7 colors bloom from top to bottom: red, yellow, green, blue, purple, black and white. Among them, red is the largest, followed by yellow, and the following are almost the same. A small red gourd as big as the belly of a finger grew out from the middle of the red flower. Even with only his spiritual consciousness, Su Junming could feel the rich Binghuo spiritual energy emanating from the red gourd flower and the gourd. The small yellow flower is the aura of Wuyutu. Cyan is the aura of Sunfan. Blue is the aura of sunflower water. Purple is the aura of thunder. Black is the aura of Hushan. White is the aura of creation. However, except for the small gourds growing out of the red flowers, there was nothing unusual about the other flowers. 7 Treasures Spirit Gourd. Su Junming recognized it when he saw it. He is well read and has a wealth of knowledge. Of course he would recognize the immortal root spirit seed like the 7 Treasures Spirit Gourd. It is rumored that the Kunlun sect has a 7 Treasure Spirit Gourd planted on the White Crane Cliff. I wonder if this one is it. Thinking of this, Su Junming looked at the rock that looked like a feather crane and understood instantly. It seems like it is. But this treasure is rumored to be the Kunlun sect's most valuable treasure. How could it be wandering outside? How did the man get it? While guessing, he suddenly felt the spiritual energy around him vibrating. "Sir, someone is fighting," Kuei Niu said. Su Junming nodded, activated the bronze mirror in his danshan, and looked up. With his current state, with the help of the bronze mirror, he could see everything within 1,000 miles. He truly possesses the magical power of clairvoyance. Thousands of feet above Daewon Harbor, a fierce battle was taking place at the moment. Among them was the pear seller Su Junming had seen before. At this time, he was holding a jade ruyi, with a bronze mirror floating above his head. As soon as the jade was brushed, the fire was radiating, and the red flame was billowing. The brilliance of the bronze mirror circulates, casting bursts of light, protecting the pear seller in the middle. The 2 treasures, one for attack and one for defense, cooperate seamlessly and are extremely mysterious. In particular, the bronze mirror is a spiritual treasure. When defended, it is like mercury pouring down the ground, and water cannot penetrate it. Surrounding the pear seller were 3 men wearing purple robes. Judging from their attire, they were disciples of the Kunlun sect. Junior brother Yan, if you are willing to go back to Kunlun Mountain with me, kowtow in front of the master and admit your mistakes, and punish yourself at Kailanya, you will still have a chance to correct your evil ways and return to your section. If not, after the master comes out of seclusion, you will die when the thunderous wrath is unleashed. No burial place. A middle-aged Taoist priest with 3 strands of long beard on his chin spoke righteously while looking at him. Ha ha, ha ha. After laughing with sarcasm, kowtow and admit your mistake, punish yourself at Kailanya. Humph, I'm afraid if I really surrender, you hypocrite will kill me, let alone talk about returning to Kunlun. Senior brother Lu, don't talk nonsense to this scoundrel. He stole our sect's treasure and insulted junior sister Su. His crime cannot be punished. Next to him, a young monk with a white face and beard holding a magic sword said angrily. Among the 3, the remaining gray-haired old man didn't say much. He just cooperated with 2 fellow disciples to attack the pear seller. Lu Zhangfeng, listen. I'm afraid your inner thoughts are the same as that of this kid from the Chen family, right? But compared to this brainless fool like him, you are much more scheming. But it doesn't matter, I have decided to betray Kunlun. At that moment, I didn't think about going back. After a pause, the pear seller showed a proud smile on his face. Speaking of which, junior sister Su is the most beautiful woman in Kunlun, and she practices Shayin Moon Wheel. There are thousands of male disciples in Kunlun, who doesn't want to become a Taoist partner with her. Now I'm talking about it. Hee, that feeling is really the great bliss of life. You disgusting bastard. The younger Kunlun monk had already charged forward with great fury. Lu Zhangfeng was shocked when he saw it. Junior brother Chen, please don't be so presumptuous, come back quickly. The pear seller's pupils shrank, and the brilliance of the bronze mirror above his head skyrocketed. The vast silver light was like mercury pouring down the ground, overwhelming the sky and crushing towards the monk surnamed Chen. There was a loud bang, and junior brother Chen's face turned pale, he vomited blood, and was instantly knocked backwards. The formation between the 3 people instantly broke into chaos. Seeing the opportunity, the pear seller activated his escape light and flew out from the gap between the 3 of them, heading straight towards the sea. Senior brother Zudge, please chase after me first, and let me see how injured junior brother Chen is. The gray-haired Taoist priest in purple robe nodded, activated his escape light, and chased after the pear seller. The battle stopped. However, it also confirmed Su Junming's original guess. That pear seller was also a disciple of Kunlun? Seeing that his cultivation level is also in the late Yuanying stage, and he has an extraordinary status in Kunlun, no wonder he had the opportunity to steal the 7 treasures spiritual gourd. In this case, the pear is the famous spiritual root of the Kunlun sect. Qiu pear. He shook his head slightly. He was undoubtedly involved in the internal fighting of the Kunlun sect, but he had no intention of returning what he got. Looking at the leftovers in front of me. Have you eaten yet? Gudu swallowed a mouthful of wine. After hearing his words, Kuei Niu opened his mouth wide and swallowed with great force. In an instant, the remaining food and wine were swallowed by him like a wind and a cloud. Wipe your mouth. Master, it's time to eat. Let's go out on a boat. Su Junming stood up and walked downstairs. Kuei Niu quickly followed. After leaving the restaurant, we came to the dock. With money in our pocket, we easily bought a first-class cabin on a large ocean ship. Of course, space on the ship is limited, and even the best cabins are far inferior to the superior guest rooms in the dock inns. 1 bedroom and 1 living room, totaling less than 50 square meters. If you need to use the restroom, you must go to the public restroom outside. If you want to eat, there is a restaurant on the ship, and you can also bring a la carte back. Of course, as monks, Su Junming and Kuei Niu don't need to go to such trouble. Pushing open the window and looking at the thousands of miles of sea waves outside, Su Junming took a deep breath. The salty smell of water vapor rushed into the blue sky, letting a flash of memories appear on his face. I remember that the first time I saw the sea was in the island city of China World. Fast forward now, it's been 100 years. Squeak, the tall Kuei Niu opened the door and walked in. Sir, the boss of the ship said that the ship will sail in 2 days. He stepped over and looked at the sea through the window, but after a moment, Kuei Niu looked away. The sea is like this every day, and it doesn't change. It's really nothing to see. If you ask me, it's still the old cow who supports me. We can reach the overseas country of Yingzhou in half an hour. Flying is indeed very fast, but measuring the world with your feet is also a kind of practice. Master, I have nothing urgent to do. It is the right time to travel around the world. Kuei Niu shrugged and said nothing more. You good guy, look after the room for me. I'll go back to Daihuang Mountain. Master, just don't worry. Kuei Niu slapped his chest loudly. After glancing at him, Su Junming flashed and disappeared instantly. As soon as he left, Kuei Niu felt a lot less pressure for some reason and sat down relaxedly. With a wave of his hand, he cast a spell, sealed the door, and sat down. After a yawn, the huge bull's eyes became sleepy. With a flick of his body, he transformed into a green bull with cocklebur ears, no horns, and one leg. It's still so comfortable. Kuei Niu, who was lying prone on the floor of the bedroom, bent his only giant leg and soon snored like thunder and fell asleep directly. After entering Daihuang Mountain, we came to the backyard of Chongshan residence. The spiritual energy in the creation spirit pond is much richer than before. 5 white lotuses of good fortune and 1 golden lotus of Bodhi. With the support of strong spiritual energy and the will of good fortune, their vitality becomes more and more vigorous and mysterious. The Lingshan mountain in the island is tall and handsome, with 2 pine trees and lush red flame bamboos. The planted Dongming level elixirs and spiritual roots are also growing vigorously. With a wave of his sleeves, a 10-foot high boulder, with white top and black bottom, and a narrow middle, slowly fell into the island. Under the support of abundant spiritual energy, the 7 treasures spiritual gourd growing around the stone instantly became bright and beautiful, and even the red gourd seemed to have grown a little. Moreover, the boulder that looks like a white feathered crane already contains the spiritual energy of creation. Although its quality is only a big hole, it is also a rare spiritual object of creation. Inspired by the rich creation aura in the creation spirit pool, it becomes even more dazzling and extraordinary. Seeing another fairy root added to his creation spirit pool, Su Junming nodded with satisfaction. Turn around and come to Tiangong Hall. The huge Tiangong divine furnace was like a blazing fire. With a casual move, a jade box flew by. Su Junming put the more than 40 jade pairs he had obtained into it for future use in elixir making. After doing this, his spiritual consciousness was immersed in the Tiangong divine furnace, and 2 copper lotuses wrapped in flames were prepared inside. One was still calm, and the other was already wrapped in rich elixir energy. About there. With a gesture of his hand, a lotus seed flew over. After flying and sitting on it, the lotus seed slowly rose up and came directly above the Tiangong divine furnace. Changing a few finger techniques in his hand, a spiritual light shot into the Tiangong divine furnace. The lotus wrapped in elixir energy flew up instantly. The giant lotus on the top of the Tiangong divine furnace opened, and the copper lotus flew out like lightning, followed by a rich and incomparable fragrance of elixir, which overflowed the Tiangong Hall, which was hundreds of acres in size. Open. The layers of lotus petals slowly opened, and pills blooming with 9 colors of light, as big as dragon eyes, and like glass jade beads appeared on the lotus platform. Su Junming opened his palms, and a yellow-skinned gourd that had been prepared appeared. Peel off the stopper, and with the majestic suction force, the 9-color pills fly into the gourd. Su Junming counted them and found that there were 24 in total. This furnace of 9 yellow pills was supposed to have 32 pills, but I didn't expect that I still produced 8 waste pills after I tried my best. If other alchemists heard what he said, they would be furious to death. When making elixirs, most alchemists would be considered successful if they could achieve a 50% success rate. He has nearly 70% here. Moreover, the refining ones are still at the level of insight, and the elixir used by Yuan Shen monks is even more difficult to refine. Let alone 50%, many alchemists would be satisfied with 10% or 20%. After putting away the medicine gourd, packing a handful of waste elixirs separately, drawing in the spiritual water, and cleaning the lotus stove from the inside out, Su Junming stretched out his hand. A jade box flew over from the nearby shelf. Here is the elixir he prepared in advance to refine the 9 yellow pills. After putting it in the lotus furnace, put the entire jade box back and take another jade box over. Over and over again, a total of 9 kinds of Dongming level spiritual fruits and spiritual grasses, and 172 kinds of Great Cave level spiritual grasses were used to gather the spiritual materials needed for this furnace of 9 yellow pills. Fortunately, he destroyed the Black Heart Demon cult and the Longjiang Shui tribe, otherwise it would be difficult to gather the spiritual herbs needed for a furnace of 9 yellow pills, let alone a second furnace. After finishing these tasks, he stretched out his hand and 12 drops of good fortune spirit water flew into the copper furnace. The lotus leaves of the lotus copper furnace closed and slowly fell into the Tiangong divine furnace. The fierce flames instantly enveloped the copper furnace, removing impurities from the lotus liquid and purifying its ingredients over and over again. This is a matter of slow work and meticulous work, and someone needs to keep an eye on it. Su Junming usually uses his multitasking puppet body to take care of the Tiangong divine furnace. Glancing at the old monk sitting upright next to him, Su Junming took the waste elixir and cleared the Tiangong hall. Arriving at the lowermost leaves of the palace treasure tree, there is the spiritual plant garden that he carefully cultivated. In the spiritual planting garden, all the spiritual roots and fruits planted are big cave level spiritual roots and fruits. As for the Dongzhen and Dongxian levels, they are almost useless to Su Junming, who has now reached the level of Yuan Shen. Therefore, he gave them all to the students of Chongshan Academy in the form of tasks to plant. The environment in Lingzaiwen is diverse, including plains, hillsides, rivers, lakes, swamps, and even cold and windy mountains. Because each kind of spiritual plant has a different growing environment, Su Junming also set up different growing places according to their habits. Su Junming, who has been here many times, is very familiar with this place. Soon we came to a lush valley filled with the fragrance of fruit trees. Nearly 100 different fruit trees are planted in this valley. There are peaches, apricots, oranges, and pomegranates, all Su Junming's trophies over the years. They are all big cave-level spiritual fruits. After a brief look, Su Junming stamped his foot. Soon, a little doll with a white body and compound leaves on its head emerged from the ground. Seeing Su Junming, he quickly bowed and saluted. Master! Ling Shen, Lingguo Yuan can grow so well, you are indispensable. The little baby's face showed joy. Thank you for the compliment, Master. This is what spiritual ginseng should do. Su Junming nodded slightly, waved his hand, and a drop of milky white water flew towards the spiritual ginseng. Master, I will never neglect a meritorious minister, and I have given you the spiritual water created by this land. Thank you, sir, thank you, sir. Ling Shen quickly swallowed it in one gulp. The creation of spiritual water is of great benefit to the elves transformed from the elixir. Opening the palm, 16 brown-black seeds as big as mung beans appeared in the palm. These are my new pear seeds, sir. You can plant them here. Yes, sir. Ling Shen took it respectfully. With a rush of magic power, the seeds fell into the palm of the spiritual ginseng. Also, there are many similar seeds. Just keep this land. Yes. The Lingui pear is a spiritual root of the Dongming level. According to convention, the pear trees cultivated from its seeds will be downgraded by one level, which is the big cave level. Even so, hundreds of cave-level spiritual roots of green pear trees are a rare treasure. After the explanation, Su Junming left Daihuang Mountain. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 439. Chapter 432, The Power of Kuei Niu. Seeing Kuei Niu lying on the ground and sleeping soundly, Su Junming shook his head. This bastard is lazy and greedy. He's as good as a pig. Go up and kick him in the butt. Get out of here. Who, that bastard dares to kick Master Niu's ass? Kuei Niu cursed and opened his eyes. After taking a clear look at the surroundings, he instantly remembered that this was not his home in the Spirit Beast Villa, but the ship on which he was going to sea with his master. Subconsciously, he turned his head and looked at Su Junming, who had an ugly face. Kuei Niu's brain melon seeds buzzed, and a sneer appeared on his face. Well, sir, Lao Niu doesn't know it's you. Get up and follow me out. Su Junming said angrily. Yes, yes. After nodding, Kuei Niu transformed into a high-spirited man wearing a purple robe. However, the way it nodded and bowed did not match its figure at all. Su Junming, who has become accustomed to its appearance, is too lazy to say more. He waved his hand to remove the restrictions in the room and walked out. After passing through the long and narrow cabin, we came to the deck. At this time, the ship had already sailed, and many passengers were relaxing on the deck. Due to the limitations of the times, ancient shipbuilding technology had limited tonnage. Just like the ship he is on now, it only weighs more than 1,000 tons. But in this era, it is already rare to find a big ship. In fact, although there is no modern shipbuilding technology in this era, the energy burst out by the spell is not bad at all. It's just that those who are cultivating immortals are aloof and stubborn in tradition. Of course, they also want to ensure their transcendent status. They have no concept of using magic to change productivity. In other words, Su Junming had mostly modern concepts in his mind, so he promoted the practice of spiritual practice among all people in Daihuang Mountain in order to find a different path to immortality. Sir, look, he's a pear Taoist. Looking in the direction of Kuei Niu's finger, it turned out to be the guy who used his magic to steal jade pears from the pear seller in Daiwan port a few days ago, but had his beard cut off in the process. At this moment, he was holding the hand of a rather pretty young woman in a dignified manner and reading her palm. I don't know what he said, but it made the young woman tremble so much that she even let him rub the fresh pig hands with oil. You can't tell that this guy is still a pervert, Kuei Niu said. Su Junming smiled faintly. Although this man did not look like a decent monk, he had a lot of merits. Damn it, it's you bastard. An angry sound exploded from the left side of the deck. Give me back my baby. A man in black robe roared angrily and flew towards the middle-aged Taoist priest as fast as lightning. I saw him stretching out his hands, and his fingertips flashed with cold light. It was obvious at a glance that something was extraordinary. Moreover, he didn't care at all about the woman next to the middle-aged Taoist priest. He went down with his claws and clawed her to pieces. The middle-aged Taoist priest's expression changed, and with a wave of his left hand, the woman flew backwards instantly. He raised his right palm, the etched text on his palm flashed, and a thick barrier blocked his body. Boom! Things happened in a hurry, and with the sound of defeat, the middle-aged Taoist priest was instantly blown away. Arriving at the sea, the middle-aged Taoist priest waved his hand, and a 2-foot-long black jade pole appeared in his palm. With a wave of his hand, the floating dust spread like a peacock, its brilliance soaring. The intense white brilliance blocked the second wave of attacks from the man in black robe. This layman is so unreasonable, and I don't know you, so why would you kill me when you come up? This sentence made the man in black robe even more angry. A piece of jade rouille appeared in his palm, and he swiped it in the air, and the flames skyrocketed. The surging fire rolled straight towards the middle-aged Taoist priest. Damn you idiot, 4 days ago in Daewon Port, you used illusions to confuse a certain family and stole my treasure. Now that a certain family has caught you, you dare to deny it? You really don't know how to live or die. If you are sensible, you can exchange the treasures stolen from a certain family back, otherwise the certain family will fight you to death. The middle-aged Taoist priest was also extremely angry. It's just that someone came to the door, but the treasure that he worked so hard for didn't get into his hands at all. I don't know what you are talking about. If you keep talking nonsense, don't blame me for being rude. You're welcome. If you don't return this poor treasure, a certain family will let you die here today. The sky will be set on fire. She brushed the jade rouille fiercely in her hand, and the surging flames were like a volcano erupting, crushing towards the middle-aged Taoist priest like an angry wave. Facing the flames, the middle-aged Taoist priest looked solemn, the fingers in his palms changed, and he muttered words. Watch me extinguish your flames. A ray of light flew into the sea, and a huge vortex appeared in an instant. In an instant, a huge water column, like a high-pressure water gun, hit the overwhelming flames. As the saying goes, fire and water are incompatible. As soon as the two sides touched, a large sheet of thick fog rose from the sea, accompanied by a thunderous noise. The scattered flames and the uncontrolled water flow turned into thousands of feet and fell down. The water roared and the waves were rough. There was also a lot of water and fire that escaped and hit the ship. When the ordinary people on the deck saw this scene, they were instantly frightened and fled in all directions. Don't panic, stay calm. Huge shouts rang out from the top cabin. Followed by a tortoise shell, it flew out and instantly became tens of meters in size, blocking out all water and fire. At this moment, in the cabin, a middle-aged man wearing a purple robe controlled the tortoise shell with one hand and stared at the two sides fighting not far away with a solemn expression, with a trace of fear in his eyes. Mr. Hu, what should I do? Compared to the middle-aged man in purple robe who was relatively calm, the ship boss next to him was already nervous and sweating profusely. Look at the power exuded from each move of those two martial artists. If his ship were hit by a single move, it would fall apart in an instant. If there is no boat, I'm afraid that it won't be long before those monsters in the sea kill them and serve them as dinner. Turn the ship around and let's get out of here first. Turn around? The lord of the city asked us to return to Lan Maple Port within a month. If it's too late, I will tell the city lord, go quickly. This was what the ship boss wanted. After nodding, he hurriedly conveyed the order. Boom. Suddenly there was a loud noise. After the flames collided with the water column, a bronze mirror suddenly flew out from behind the head of the big man in black, and a vast mirror light hit the middle-aged Taoist priest like lightning. The latter's expression changed drastically. Although the incident happened suddenly, he responded quickly. The escaping light surged instantly, and he narrowly avoided the mirror light. But he avoided it, and the sea ship behind him was slow and difficult to avoid. Not good. The middle-aged Taoist priest's expression changed greatly. If this boat full of 2,000 people died because of his negligence, then his sin would be great. The middle-aged man in purple robe on the top floor of the ship also changed his face drastically. But the attack of the bronze mirror was too powerful, far beyond what he, a golden elixir monk, could handle. And at such a fast speed, it is definitely impossible to avoid it. Close your eyes. It's over. Just when he closed his eyes and waited to die, he found that nothing had changed in the past half hour. He opened his eyes hesitantly, and the scene before him shocked him. The incomparable mirror light in his eyes was actually blocked by a thick thunderbolt. Looking back along the thunder, a tall man wearing a purple robe soon came into view. the big man held a huge octagonal copper hammer in his hand. Dazzling thunder bloomed from the octagonal copper hammer, stretching for more than 10 feet, blocking the vast mirror light. "Who are you?" The man in black robe frowned and looked at the big man in purple robe holding a copper hammer, with a hint of shock in his eyes. "The treasure in his hand is a spiritual treasure. If it can block his mirror light, the octagonal copper hammer in the opponent's hand is at least a spiritual treasure. Or, that big man is the real Yuan Shen." True souls were too scarce, so his first thought was that the copper hammer was a spiritual treasure. This octagonal copper hammer is indeed a spiritual treasure, a trophy obtained by Su Junming after he killed Aokun, the Dragon King of the Longjiang Water tribe. I originally planned to pair it with my Tianli drum. However, the material of this thunder hammer is a piece of heavenly thunder spirit iron of the level of insight, and it has 7 spiritual taboos. Not only is the material different from his thunder drum, but the taboos are also quite different. In addition, although the heavenly thunder drum is very powerful, it has taken a back seat in my own hands. Therefore, after some consideration, the hammer was given to Kuei Niu. "Master, how do you deal with these 2 guys?" Su Junming said calmly, "Catch them all for me." "Damn it!" Kuei Niu, whose hands had been itchy for a long time, showed excitement on his face. "Since breaking into the Yuan Shen, all the people I encountered along the way with Su Junming were little monsters, and I had never fought with 2 Yuanying level monks. Especially, one of them is holding a spiritual weapon." He straightened up and shot up into the sky like lightning. With a flick of the Mjolnir in his hand, hundreds of feet of thunder swept straight towards the 2 of them like 2 huge scythes. The sudden thunder caused the expressions of both parties to change drastically. At this time, they also felt the vast thunderous aura on Kuei Niu. Soul. The expressions of the 2 people changed drastically. Yuan Shen and Yuanying are definitely 2 different concepts. Nascent soul monks holding spiritual treasures can compete with Yuan Shen monks, but their magic power is always a shortcoming that cannot be overcome. What's more, the hammer in the hands of the big man in purple robe is obviously a spiritual treasure, and it is also a high-level spiritual treasure of extremely high grade. Coupled with the other party's soul-level cultivation, the middle-aged Taoist priest and the black-robed man instantly understood that the 2 of them together had little chance of winning. The 2 of them were also shrewd people, and they turned around and ran away in unison. Moreover, one from the south to the other from the north will never give Kuei Niu a chance to catch them all. "Senior, that person has Kunlun's most precious treasures, the 7 treasures spiritual gourd and the jade pear." The man in black robe ran and shouted, obviously thinking, "I will die as a fellow Taoist, but not as a poor Taoist." When the middle-aged Taoist priest heard this, his face instantly darkened, and he said angrily, "Senior, he is Yan Ruohe, an abandoned disciple of Kunlun. When he rebelled against the Kunlun sect, he stole the 7 treasure spirit gourd and more than 40 jade pears. Those are immortal roots, and with the cave-level spiritual root, grasping him will definitely bring great gains to the seniors." The 2 of them were shouting and running away, blaming each other, and they had a tacit understanding. "Hey, Mr. Niu, I don't care who of you has treasures, just keep them all." With a loud shout, a giant one-legged bull with a pale head and no horns instantly appeared in the sky. This bull is several hundred feet tall, and its entire body is made of thunder. His eyes opened, like 2 giant pillars of thunder. The breathtaking momentum is overwhelming. Feeling the prison-like momentum behind them, the middle-aged Taoist priest and Yan Ruohe looked back, and their expressions instantly changed. "Soul. Ouch." The giant bull opened its mouth, and its roar was like a level 12 storm, crushing it in all directions. I was about to roar twice more. "Stop being so nagging, bring the person back quickly." The plain voice made Kuei Niu tremble, and he swallowed the 2 roars instantly. "Don't worry, sir. I'll catch these 2 guys right away, Lao Niu." After finishing his flattering words, Kuei Niu Yuan-shen merged into Thor's hammer, and instantly the sky turned into a thunder sea with a radius of hundreds of acres. Jumping arcs of lightning and vast thunder spread out. The majestic thunder and lightning reminds people of the nascent soul thunder tribulation. What a strong spirit! When the middle-aged Taoist priest and Yan Ruohe sensed it, their colors changed instantly. Then he saw two tyrannical thunderbolts, like two huge thunder and lightning spears, spanning dozens of miles, arriving in front of him in the blink of an eye. Not good. The two of them didn't care about escaping anymore and quickly turned around to resist. Boom! The tyrannical thunder knocked the magic weapons out of their hands and hit them hard on the chest. Wow! His face turned pale and blood flew out. Just when they wanted to mobilize their magic power, they found that their bodies were numb, and the participating Lei Jin was like flexible little snakes, instantly sealing their dantian. The law has its essence. The two of them understood instantly. The point where Yuan-shen monks are stronger than Yuanying monks is that their Yuan-shen has been integrated with mana, and there is Yuan-shen in every trace of mana. Unless nirvana is complete, every ounce of mana of the Yuan-shen monk will not be out of control. Immediately afterwards, two more thunderbolts flew in, picking up the two of them and flying straight towards the ship. At this moment, the people on the ship had long been frightened by the series of changes and had gotten into the cabin. Su Junming was the only one left on the deck. After the majestic thunder and lightning fell on the deck, it did not cause any damage, but quickly concentrated and condensed into the figure of Kuei Niu. Plop! With a casual throw, the middle-aged Taoist priest and Yan Ruohe were thrown to Su Junming's feet by Kuei Niu like rag dolls. "Sir, I've caught these two guys." The two of them climbed up from the deck, and Yan Ruohe was done. When the middle-aged monk saw Su Junming, his expression was as if he had seen a ghost, and he stepped back continuously using his hands and feet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 440. Chapter 433, Crush. It seems you know me. Su Junming said calmly. The middle-aged monk trembled, as if he suddenly woke up, and fell to his knees. Chen Yuliang, a loose cultivator in the East China Sea, pays homage to the real person Chongshan. May the real person be blessed with good health and may his life be as long as the sky. Master Chongshan. Yan Ruohe looked at the green-robed Taoist opposite him in disbelief. The name of Chongshan Master Su Junming was naturally well known to him, but the Kunlun sect did not send anyone to attend the last Dragon Palace Ferry of Immortals, so he had not seen Su Junming's true face with his own eyes. But this will not affect the other party's reputation in the entire Kunlun sect. After all, the Black Heart Demon cult, which has millions of followers, the two strongest souls of Chongyang Tao, and the Longjiang Shui tribe, which has existed for tens of thousands of years, are comparable in strength to Kunlun. In the past 30 years, they have been defeated by the opponent. Uprooted. Hundreds of thousands of demons and ghosts died at his hands. He was truly ruthless and iron-faced. In the past, whenever the dynasty came to an end, the spiritual world would inevitably be in turmoil. But now Daong's officialdom is dim and the people are in dire straits, almost falling into a state of warlord separatism. But the practice world is as calm as before, and it is even more peaceful than when Daong was founded. This completely opposite state is mostly due to Su Junming. Nowadays, everyone knows that there is such a Yuan Shen Daxio who hates evil and is active in the world of Daong cultivation. Anyone who dares to do evil will inevitably face death. Therefore, all kinds of demons and monsters hid in the mountains, causing the Daong cultivation world to fall into unprecedented peace. Are you a Kunlun monk? Greetings to Master Chongshan. My name is Yan Ruohe. I have now rebelled from Kunlun and become a rogue cultivator. After saying this, he pointed at Chen Yuliang next to him. Master, when I escaped from Kunlun, I took away Kunlun's most treasured 7 treasures spirit gourd planted on Behi Cliff, as well as 47 jade pears. When I fled to Daywan port, I planned to become an ordinary person and escape pursuit, but was this Chen Yuliang was deceived by illusions, and all the treasures he obtained were stolen by him. Now that I have met the real person, I am truly lucky. Yan Ruohe is willing to offer the 7 treasures spirit gourd and 47 jade pears in the hope that the real person will accept it. Your grandma. Yan Ruohe, I didn't take any of the 7 treasures spirit gourd and jade pear that you stole when you rebelled against Kunlun. Please stop throwing dirty water on me, Chen Yuliang said angrily. Humph, I see it clearly. When I fled to Daywan port, the 7 treasures spirit gourd and the jade pear were still safely in the magic bag. However, in the busy market, I was tricked by this guy and used illusions to confuse them. All lost. If he didn't take it, who else could have taken it? Please also ask the real person to search his bag of magic. If it is not found, then use the soul search method to search his memory to ensure that the real person can gain something. Chen Yuliang's face suddenly changed. The soul-searching method is very vicious. After being tortured by this method, the soul is damaged and cannot be repaired without great efforts. If the injury is serious, it will cause soul damage that is difficult to repair. Master, don't listen to his nonsense. The treasure must be on his person. Moreover, when this guy fled down the Kunlun mountains, he raped his junior sister Su Ling and beheaded 17 Kunlun disciples who were guarding Qiuli. It seems that these people have forgotten their ancestors and betrayed their masters. If he is allowed to live as a traitor to the sect, he will definitely be a great harm to the world of spiritual practice. I would also like to ask Master to kill this beast to eliminate harm to the world of spiritual practice. Yan Ruohe's expression suddenly changed. Su Junming's jealous behavior was well known to the world. If these things were really confirmed, his end would not be good. The real person, he made up these words. Don't be fooled by the real person. Master, these 2 guys are too noisy. According to Lao Niu, we might as well kill them all with one hammer. I guarantee that no one will be wronged. Su Junming smiled lightly. Whoever does evil in the world can hide it from my eyes. With a flick of his fingers, a bunch of yellow rice sank into Yan Ruohe's body like lightning. After refining the demon bone relic and the Kongming stone, Yimen Huangliang has been trained by Su Junming to the peak allowed by this world. It is a spiritual treasure with 12 levels of complete restraints. The next step is the immortal calamity of Lingbao. If you can pass it, you will be an immortal weapon. If you can't pass it, you will be dust. 365 pieces, a dream yellow beam transformed from yellow rice with 12 levels of restraints, its power is second only to the half-broken netherworld white bone flag. His ability to capture and search for souls is naturally far better than in the past. In just a moment, Yan Ruohe's soul was captured, and then all the memories in his mind were wiped out. He reached out and waved, and a copper mirror as clear as water, 1 foot long, red ruyi, and a magic bag on his waist flew into Su Junming's hands. Su Junming flipped through it briefly. Red fire ruyi was just a magic weapon and he looked down upon it. This bronze mirror carries yin and yang, and contains the way of creating and restraining the 2 rights, which is extremely mysterious. Moreover, this bronze mirror named Yin-Yang Realm is also a low-grade spiritual treasure with 2 levels of spiritual prohibition. This treasure has the same name as Zhenying's natal spiritual treasure, and it also contains the Yin and Yang Dao. There is no shortage of subsequent sacrificial training methods. In the future, when the spiritual energy of the Chinese world recovers, I can give him this mirror. 16 years have passed since he came to the world of Liuzai. The Chinese world where Uncle Ju lives will usher in a revival of spiritual energy in another 38 years. Although 38 years is almost half a lifetime for ordinary people. But for ordinary practitioners, it is not a long time. As the master of Qin Zhong and Lin Zhenying, he did plan for his disciples instead. Yan Ruohe, I'll see where you run away this time. A shout came in the distance, and from the horizon not far away, a sword light flew towards him at lightning speed. Before the people arrived, a Suanhe sword light of more than 100 feet was already heading straight towards the sailboat. That fierce momentum obviously did not care about the lives of more than 1,000 ordinary people on the ship. Su Junming's expression changed. The Kunlun sect has really cultivated good disciples. He waved the bamboo stick in his palm. The thin bamboo pole instantly extended, becoming as thin as an adult's thumb. Compared with the brilliant sword light, it looked like a plaything. But when the two sides touched, the sword light melted instantly like ice and snow under the bright sun. The bamboo stick is bright, but like light and electricity. In the blink of an eye, he reached the chest of the young man in purple robe holding the sword. The two purple-robed men who came from behind changed their expressions when they saw this scene. "We are monks of the Kunlun section, please show mercy, senior." However, the bamboo pole did not stop, but hit it hard. The young man in purple robe felt as if he was struck by lightning, a mouthful of blood flew out, and his whole body instantly succumbed. The bamboo staff flashed with light, sucking the sword in the opponent's hand and retracting it instantly. "For the sake of Kunlun, I will spare your life. If you let me see you wasting your life and killing sentient beings again next time, I will destroy your nascent soul, so get out." Lu Zhangfeng quickly hugged the young man in purple robe who was falling. After using his magic power to explore the injuries in his body, Lu Zhangfeng breathed a sigh of relief. Although the sternum was shattered and the meridians were severed after being hit with a bamboo stick, the dantian was not broken and the nascent soul was still there. As long as he took good rest, it would not be difficult to recover. Looking at the green-robed monk standing on the deck, Lu Zhangfeng looked solemn. His junior brother was in the late Yuanying stage after all. After being injured by Yan Ruohe at Daewonport last time, he was given the Kunlun sect's spiritual treasure fee hung by his mentor. Sword. The strength has more than doubled. The ordinary Yuan Shen monks could compete with one or two, but they never thought that they would be seriously injured here with a bamboo stick. There is no doubt that the green-robed monk is also a major spiritual cultivator. Nowadays, there are not many Yuan Shen monks in the spiritual world. They like to wear green robes, and there is only one person who holds a green bamboo staff. Thinking of his identity, Lu Zhangfeng felt a chill in his heart. He quickly lowered his light and bowed to salute. Lu Zhangfeng, a disciple of the Ling generation of the Kunlun sect, pays homage to Master Chongshan. May the Master live a long life. Since you know me, you know my way of doing things. If it weren't for the sake of your Kunlun sect's famous and authentic family, with that stick just now, you would have killed this arrogant person who despised the innocent and wasted the lives of thousands of people. This is what the real person taught me. Please tell me clearly that my junior brother almost caused a catastrophe because he was eager to capture Yan Ruohe, who had defected to Kunlun. He did not do this intentionally. According to what you said, did I blame him wrongly? Lu Zhangfeng shook his head quickly. No, 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 this is what the real person taught me. Please rest assured, real person. After I take him back, I will strictly discipline him and never let him get into trouble again. It's best, otherwise I won't mind being a villain again. With a flick of the bamboo stick, the flying sword stuck to it flew straight towards Lu Zhangfeng. The latter caught it in a hurry. Let's go, I don't want to see you again. Lu Zhangfeng swallowed, glanced at Su Junming's expression, and said cautiously, Jinren hates evil as much as he hates it. He has always set an example for the spiritual world. When my master mentioned Jinren, he was full of praise. Su Junming interrupted him and pointed his bamboo stick at Yan Ruohe. Do you want this person back? Exactly. Yan Ruohe betrayed his master and his evil deeds are obvious. I hope that the real person can hand him over to the juniors and let the juniors take him back to Kunlun Mountain to restore his life. Su Junming smiled faintly and swept his bamboo stick. Yan Ruohe flew straight towards Lu Zhangfeng. Forget it, I'll give this person to you. But I took away the things he had on him. Consider it my reward for catching the traitor for you. As soon as he finished speaking, the sea water surged, surrounded the ship, and floated away into the distance. Looking at the shadow of the boat, Lu Zhangfeng searched Yan Ruohe, who looked like a dead body, and sure enough, there was no trace of the 7 treasure spirit gourd and the jade pear. Zhangfeng, Su Junming must have taken the thing. The old man named Zuch said with an ugly expression. I know. But this matter is no longer something we can solve. Zuchping nodded. Su Junming is a Yuan-Shen monk, and even the tyrannical Longjiang Shui tribe can be destroyed by him, which shows his tyranny. Moreover, the tyrannical strength of that bamboo stick just now was fully demonstrated. Although they were respected among the nascent souls, facing the number 1 nascent soul of Daong with a illustrious reputation and outstanding achievements, they were as if they were 3-year-old children and had no power to resist at all compared to adults. Let's go back and tell the master that he should come and talk to Su Junming, Lu Zhangfeng said. As of now, that's all. Zuchping sighed. The two of them each grabbed one person and flew away from the light, heading straight towards Kunlun. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 441. Chapter 434 Kunlun Sect. Fuyu State enshrines Hu Ji and pays homage to Chongshan Master. Hu Ji, who had previously cast a spell to protect the ship, hurriedly walked out of the captain's cabin. When he came to Su Junming, he bowed to the end with a very respectful attitude. Carefully looking at the green-robed Taoist outside the room, although Fuyu country is far away overseas and has no news, Chongshan Master Su Junming is like a giant, like a comet, and is well known to Fuyu country. However, Hu Ji had never met this famous Yuan Shen Daxiu. He only knew that he liked to wear green robes, hold a green bamboo staff, and hang a green gourd around his waist. If the 2 Yuanying monks hadn't shouted just now, he wouldn't have known that the other party was the famous Master Chongshan. After nodding towards him, Su Junming turned around. Get up. Chen Yuliang looked happy and quickly got up from the ground. Thank you, Misato. I think you have a lot of merit, so I will be exempted from punishment. You can go. Chen Yu's conscience relaxed and he thanked her repeatedly, but did not leave. Genren, Xiaodao has grown up in the East China Sea and is very familiar with the practice world in the East China Sea. If Genren can use Xiaodao, Xiaodao will be willing to go to hell and follow him. Judging from his eager look, it's not hard to guess what he's thinking. It's just that it's nice to enjoy the shade under the big tree. Moreover, this time Yan Ruohe was brought back by the people from Kunlun, he would definitely not be able to hide the fact that he had stolen jade pear. Although he never succeeded, if Yan Ruohe insisted that it was him, the Kunlun sect would never let him go. Rather than being chased by people from Kunlun and running around like a lost dog, it would be better to stay with Su Junming for the time being. With the opponent's ability, even if the Kunlun ancestor comes in person, he may not be his opponent. What's more, the Master Su in front of me is a major cultivator of Yuan Shen and has profound Taoism. If I can get some advice from him, it will be of great benefit to my future practice. After thinking about these joints, Chen Yuliang took the risk and asked to stay. After thinking for a moment, he nodded. He travels around the overseas spiritual world, and he really needs someone who is familiar with this place to be his guide. In that case, you can stay. Thank you, Misato. Seeing this scene, Hu Ji showed a trace of envy on his face. Following a true soul is also a great opportunity for monks like them. It's a pity that his cultivation level is only Jindan, so he doesn't dare to compete with Chen Yuliang, a Yuanying monk. How far is it from Baiyo country? Just when Hu Ji was about to speak, Chen Yuliang had already said, Master, we will arrive at Dingling port in Fuyu Kingdom in 4 days. Baiyo is an island country in the East China Sea. It stretches 3,000 miles from north to south and more than 2,000 miles from east to west. Its combined territory is equivalent to the entire province of Daong. According to China's calculation, it is close to 3 million square kilometers. These more than 3 million square kilometers are not one piece of land, but thousands of scattered islands. Among them, the 4 largest islands form the main body of Baiyo. Dinling Port is located in Dingyuan Prefecture, Nanshan Island, Fuyu Kingdom. It is the largest port facing Daong in Fuyu Kingdom and the most prosperous port. When Su Junming took a boat and headed towards Fuyu State, Lu Zhangfeng and others also returned to Kunlun. Although the Kunlun of this world has the same name as the Kunlun of the Chinese world, Kunlun Mountain is not a giant mountain that stretches nearly 10,000 miles from east to west like the Chinese world, but a mountain range covering an area of 3,000 miles. Although 3,000 miles is not too small, there are nearly 100 such mountains in Daong. So Kunlun Mountain is not outstanding. But the mountain is not high. If there are immortals, it will be bright. Because this is the gate of the Kunlun sect, the top Taoist sect in Daong, the entire Kunlun Mountain has become sacred in Daong. Tianzi Peak, the main peak of Kunlun Mountain, towers into the clouds and is the most majestic. The Kunlun Golden Palace on the top of the mountain reflects the rising sun and overlooks the river and mountains. It is majestic and domineering. In the conference hall in the middle of the Kunlun Golden Palace, Lu Zhangfeng and the other 3 people pressed down to wake up, and Yan Ruohe, who looked ashen, stood in the middle. On the lotus platform above, an old man with white beard and hair, wearing a white cloak and holding a jade ruyi in his hand, sits high. On his left is an old woman with a bright head holding a cane, and on his right is a tall man who looks like a giant. In addition to the old man holding the jade ruyi in his hand, the bright-headed old woman and the high-spirited man also exuded the aura of a strong soul. No one expected that the Kunlun sect, in addition to Dingyang Genren on the surface, would actually have 2 Yuan Shen level powerhouses. Brother, it seems that both the 7 treasure spirit gourd and the jade pear have fallen into the hands of Chongshan Master Su Junming, the old woman said. Master Dingyang nodded, with a sad look on his brows. This is troublesome. Everyone knew what he meant. Su Junming, who destroyed the Black Heart Demon sect, leveled the Longjiang Shui tribe, and killed millions of demons and ghosts, is a mountain that everyone in the spiritual world is in awe of. Although they are very confident in their own cultivation and magic power, just thinking about the opponent's record makes their hearts heavy. Senior brother, it's just the jade pear. The 7 treasures spiritual gourd is my Kunlun treasure and must not be lost, the high-spirited man said with a loud voice. Master Dingyang nodded. The jade pear spiritual root is still there, and in just 2 months, new pears will grow. But if the 7 treasures spiritual gourd is gone, it is really gone. Although the spirit of the spiritual world is declining now, and it is difficult for the spiritual gourd to mature, in ancient times, this was an immortal root that could grow a natural immortal treasure, and it was absolutely reluctant to part with it. Naijan, did the 7 treasures spiritual gourd really fall into Su Junming's hands? Yan Ruohe looked respectful and nodded vigorously. But there was a trace of hatred in his eyes. Let your dog bite the hair out of its mouth. He deeply hated Su Junming for capturing him and handing him over to Kunlun. With the crimes he committed, he would definitely not be able to escape the fate of having his danshan broken. If you don't have any cultivation, you might as well kill him with one knife. Therefore, what he hates most now is Su Junming. Of course, everyone in Kunlun also hates it. It was obvious that his cultivation level was higher than Lu Zhenfeng's, but those old antiques still chose him as the successor, which was simply blind. Yan Ruohe, I'm going to kill you. Accompanied by deep-seated hatred, A ray of light flew from outside the palace, and the sharp sword light struck straight at Yanruohe. The old woman with the bright head waved her hand, and the wooden staff flew out with lightning and blocked the flying sword with a clang sound. At the same time, a beautiful woman wearing green clothes with picturesque features fell from the sky. At this moment, her face was full of grief and anger. "Master, the thief insulted my innocence, why are you still protecting him? Ling-er, please be patient. It won't be too late to deal with this thief after your uncle finds out the whereabouts of the 7 treasures spiritual gourd. Real. Master promises you." Su Ling stood aside with her sword in hand, looking at Yanruohe hatefully. "I will let you live for an extra quarter of an hour first, and then I will make you pay with your life." "Pay with your life?" "Haha, junior sister Su, as the saying goes, 1 day for a couple, 100 days of kindness. When you were gentle and affectionate under my crotch, you were very knowledgeable, why don't you admit it today?" Yanruohe suddenly said. Rampant said. "Shut up, you traitor." Su Ling's eyes instantly turned red, she was furious, she drew her sword and charged forward. She is aloof, pure, and is a fairy among many of her peers, and is highly respected. But ever since she was insulted by Yanruohe, she felt the vague sarcasm and ridicule in the eyes of her former classmates, which was even more uncomfortable than killing her. A stream of white light flew over and hit her on the back of the head quickly. Su Ling fainted instantly. Master Dingyang waved his hand, and the white light returned to his hand and turned into wishful thinking. "Junior sister, take this disciple of yours back. Hey, senior brother, don't blame her, Meng Lang. Ling-er is really suffering these days." Having said that, he looked at Yanruohe with eyes full of hatred. The life of the disciple he originally regarded as the mantle's successor was ruined by him. "Please, senior brother, please finish your questions and hand over this traitor to my junior sister for me to deal with." Junior sister's request, of course there is no problem. Master Dingyang nodded. "Yanruohe, retell the story of your meeting with Su Junming. If you tell the truth, I will let your soul reincarnate again, otherwise I will kill you with a palm." Yanruohe hopes that if Kunlun fights Su Junming for the 7 treasures spirit gourd, it is best for both sides to suffer losses and die together. So I happily recounted what happened after I met Su Junming, but added the part where Su Junming took the 7 treasure spirit gourd and jade pear away from his pocket. "Are you telling the truth? My disciple is about to die and his most important life is gone. What's the point of hiding the whereabouts of the 7 treasures spirit gourd?" After nodding his head in disbelief, "Zhang Feng, can you see what Yanruohe said?" Master Qi reported that he did not see it. When we arrived, junior brother Yan had already been captured by Su Junming. As for whether the 7 treasures spirit gourd fell into the hands of the opponent, the disciple did not see it. "Take him down and leave him to your junior sister Su." "Yes." After Lu Zhangfeng responded, he grabbed Yanruohe and exited the hall. "Senior brother, Yanruohe is cunning. This time he was caught by Su Junming and handed over to us. His way of life was cut off. He probably hates him deeply. If he lied and seduced us into fighting with Su Junming, then he would be fooled by him," said. "Why don't we use the soul search method to find out?" the bright-headed old woman said. "Yanruohe has a ruthless character. If we search for souls, I'm afraid he will blow himself up to save his soul for reincarnation. In the end, we will get nothing. Searching for souls will damage the soul. Once the soul is damaged, the next reincarnation will probably not be a human being, but an animal, insect, scabies, vegetation, etc. If this is true, reincarnation may not be possible for more than 10 lives. In this case, it is better to blow up the nascent soul and give it a try. If you can escape with your soul, that will be great. Even if you can't escape, the end result will be nothing more than searching for souls. As for preventing Yanruohe from blowing up, after all, he is also a master who has perfected the nascent soul and is only one step away from becoming a nascent soul. He is extremely powerful. Of course, the most important thing is that a layer of extremely tough forbidden law sealed Yanruohei's Danshan, but not his soul. Although it cannot use magic power, it can self-destruct. Obviously, this is Su Junming's method. When he brought Yanruohei back, he turned him into a big bomb. The master of Yuanying consummation self-destructs, and its power is stronger than that of a monk in the early stage of Yuan Shen. Even Master Ding Yang has to be cautious. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 442. Chapter 435, Baiyou Country. Damn Su Junming, he set a trap when he returned Yanruohei to us, the high-spirited man said angrily. Su Junming is certainly hateful. But the most important thing to know now is whether the 7 treasures spiritual gourd is in his hands. If not, and we go to raise an army to investigate the crime, a war will inevitably happen. With Su Junming's strength, we are afraid that we will not be able to escape unscathed. Master Din Jiang's words silenced the two of them. They thought they were not as strong as Ao Kun. Even Ao Kun relied on the favorable geographical conditions of the Longjiang Shui tribe Crystal Palace and was killed by Su Junming. If they went up to provoke him, the result would probably not be good. Senior brother, can we just forget about it? The old woman said. The 7 treasures spiritual gourd is my Kunlun treasure, so of course we can't let it go like this. But before the matter is clarified, it is not advisable to provoke him in public. What do you think, senior brother? The high-spirited man asked. Taoist Ding Yang groaned for a long time. Fighting with force is not advisable, let's fight with words. Senior brother, do you mean to compete in Taoism? To compete in Taoism is to compete with each other's understanding of Taoism. Generally speaking, the higher the Tao seeing, the stronger the strength. Of course, if there is a powerful magic weapon, this rule can also be broken. As the strongest sect in Daong, the Kunlun sect naturally has great treasures. But Su Junming is respected as the holy craftsman, so he naturally has no shortage of treasures on hand. Moreover, with the collection of the Longjiang aquatic tribe, the treasures will only be stronger in this regard. Kunlun has no advantage and may even be at a disadvantage. Therefore, competing in Taoism is more beneficial to Kunlun than fighting in martial arts. And this will not further worsen the relationship between the two parties. Senior brother, it's good to compete in Taoism, but if Su Junming doesn't admit that the 7 treasures spiritual gourd is in his hands, wouldn't it be in vain, said the high-spirited man. Taoist Ding Yang sighed. What my junior brother said is true. However, the strength of Chongshan Master Su Junming is unfathomable, and strong attacks will inevitably cause damage. I am not willing to lose the strength accumulated by my Kunlun sect over the years because of a fairy root that has been supported for thousands of years but has never matured. The two fell silent. Although the 7 treasures spirit gourd is important, it can only be seen but not used. The spiritual energy in heaven and earth is no longer enough to support its continued growth. The reason why this treasure is important is that in its glory days, 7 natural immortal treasures were born, and everyone still has expectations. But if they work hard for such an immortal root that they don't know how long it will take, or may never be restored, the 3 of them feel that it is not worth it. After looking at them, Master Ding Yang continued, but if this treasure is lost, it would be wrong for us to ignore it, so I decided to have a civil war to explain our attitude. His eyes flashed. Of course, if we can win in a literary fight, it's not too late to fight in a technical fight. Their eyes brightened slightly. Senior brother is wise. Genren, Dingling Port is ahead. Chan Yuliang pointed to the place where the sky and water meet in front, and a black line became thicker and thicker. Su Junming nodded slightly. These days, this person has been extremely respectful around him. He also knows all the information he wants to know about the countries in the East China Sea. He is indeed a qualified local snake. As the harbor gets closer and closer, there are gradually more and more ships of all kinds around. As Baiyo's largest seaport facing Deyang, it is also a place of prosperous commerce. Even if it can't be called the thousand sails race, it's not that far off. Dong dong dong. A huge drum beat suddenly sounded from the shore, followed by a woo-woo trumpet sound. Hu Ji came over at the right time. Genren Su, the Lord and Master of the state of Fuyou, heard that the real person was visiting, so I specially led all the officials and the master of the country to the pier to welcome him in person. The music that the real person is hearing now is exactly what the palace band of Fuyou state is doing. Play, Poseidon's Journey will only be played when welcoming the most distinguished guests. Poseidon Sing. In the eyes of our maritime nations, the legendary Poseidon is the strongest god in the world, so it is named after him. Su Junming nodded, this is a powerful and majestic piece of music. This Poseidon journey sounds somewhat similar to the memory of the Forbidden City I have heard in my life. As he spoke, the ship under his feet was getting closer and closer to the port, and gradually the situation on the port became clearer. First, a huge brocade flag came into view. There was a line of large golden characters written on it. We sincerely welcome the Dharma Master Chongshan to the country of Baiyo. Kuei Niu curled his lips and muttered in a low voice, people from Fuyou are really good at flattering. Suddenly, my heart trembled, and I turned my head to see Su Junming's calm gaze, which was as deep as the abyss. After smiling coquettishly, he quickly closed his mouth. Seeing it like this, Su Junming didn't bother to teach this guy a lesson. He turned to look at the crowds of guests on the shore. He had to say that although he didn't have any taste for these red tapes, the feeling of being respected was really good. The distance is getting closer and closer, and the once blurry figures become gradually clearer. A large area of the busy dock has been cleared by the army. Surrounded by numerous troops and people wearing official robes of various colors, a figure wearing a bright yellow dragon robe came into view. Looking at the dragon aura that enveloped him, there was no doubt that this was the Lord of Baiyo. Next to the king, there was a middle-aged Taoist priest wearing a purple Taoist robe, with a thin build, a feathered robe, a high crown, 3 strands of long beard on his chin, and a black floating dust in his hand. His magic power is also perfected by Yuanying. There is no doubt that this person is the national master of Fuyou Kingdom. By activating the bronze mirror, the national master of Fuyou state transformed into a giant python with green scales all over its body and a length of 100 feet. It turns out that the imperial master is a sea snake turned spirit. No wonder he has such a strong aura of resentment in his body. Looking at the monks standing behind the national master, most of them are monsters and few are human. Even if there are very few people like Hu Ji who don't have resentment in them. But Su Junming also discovered that if the bronze mirror was not used, there was no demonic aura in Fuyou Kingdom's body. Even if he looked at it with his spiritual sense, he would not be able to tell that he was a demon. It is enough to know that Su Junming has become a soul, and even the soul cannot see through the reality, which is enough to explain the wonder of this national master's magic. When I get the chance, I want to see how this spell is better than my inner sealing technique. Under the personal control of the ship's boss, the ship slowly docked at the dock. As Su Junming walked down, the king, who was wearing a bright yellow dragon robe, had already walked over, accompanied by several eunuchs and servants. Li Yuan, the leader of Fuyou Kingdom, pays homage to Master Chongshan. The king is so polite, but a poor Taoist monk cannot deserve such a great gift from the king. Su Junming raised his hands, and the soft but tough Qi supported Li Yuan, the leader of Fuyou Kingdom. When the two sides looked at each other, Li Yuan was surprised that this famous Yuan Shen monk looked so young. Although most monks are good at keeping their appearance, Li Yuan felt quite jealous compared to his increasingly older body. Su Junming took a brief look at the leader of the Fuyu kingdom, whose face was slightly pale, his eyes were swollen, his steps were slow, and he had been drained by alcohol and sex, and then he looked towards the national master. Noticing his look, the imperial master quickly bowed. Yuzong, the national master of Fuyu kingdom, pays homage to Master Chongshan. Although Master Chongshan was said to be a miraculous person in the Daong cultivation world and had killed countless monsters, Yuzong relied on his mysterious magic to not only not escape, but to do the opposite and persuade Fuyu to the Lord brought his ministers to the dock to greet him. And this is also his temptation. If Su Junming reveals his true identity, he can also escape from Su Junming by threatening the lives of tens of millions of people on the dock, especially the life of the leader of Fuyu kingdom. The imperial master is a master of immortality. I wonder which sect he belongs to. Su Junming smiled lightly. He didn't guess Yuzong's plan, nor did he want to guess. With his own strength, it is easy to take down the snake demon, there is no need to rush. Zhen, I got a Taoist book by chance when I was young. I haven't been a disciple for many years. I only reached my current state by practicing hard by myself. In this way, the qualifications and endowments of the national teacher are extremely good. Thank you for the compliment, Master. If Master is willing, Yuzong is willing to study under Master. Looking at Yuzong with an earnest look on his face, Su Junming smiled faintly. Let's talk about this later. Turned. Master Li, I have come from a long distance and have been exhausted by traveling and traveling. I wonder if there is a post station where I can rest. Don't worry, Master, everything has been arranged by me. In addition, I will set up a banquet for Master in the palace. After Master has eaten and drank, it will not be too late to go back to rest. Master. When he heard that there was something to eat, Kuei Niu's eyes instantly lit up. Seeing its eager look, Su Junming nodded slightly. In this case, it would be disrespectful for me to refuse. Haha, the real person is a true cultivator in the world. He is a rare guest of our Fuyu country. Now that he is here, our Fuyu country can be said to be prosperous. No need to be polite, just enjoy it. Led by Li Yuan, the leader of Fuyu kingdom, the group boarded the carriages and horses at the pier and headed straight for the royal palace more than 10 miles away. This royal palace is built on a low mountain, surrounded by mountains and rivers, lush trees, and a cool climate, making it an excellent place to live. The main hall of the palace. Li Yuan sat high up, with Su Junming at the bottom on the left and Yuzong, the national master on the right. Master, I have admired the reputation of Master for a long time. It is truly a blessing to see him today. Today I will drink this cup again for Master. Thank you, Lord. Su Junming picked up the wine glass, glanced at it briefly, smiled lightly, and drank it under the unwavering gaze of Yuzong opposite him. Master, how do you like the wine from Fuyu country? Li Yuan said with a smile. It is indeed a good wine. Since it is good wine, I might as well drink a few more glasses of wine. Come on, call all my singers here to toast to the real person. Soon, a group of dancing girls in skimpy clothes walked up from outside the hall with light steps. Accompanied by graceful or intense music, the dancers stretched their graceful figures to their heart's content, and soon the atmosphere in the hall was pushed to a climax. Everyone exchanged cups with excitement on their faces. Kuei Niu was holding a wine glass and looking at the dancing girls with drunken eyes, his lustful look revealed. Can't you tell that this guy is not only lazy and greedy, but also horny? Shaking his head inwardly, he opened his mouth and drank the wine. Of course, the wine did not flow into the stomach, but was moved far away by him using the Huishan Dao method. Although this poison is mysterious and secretive, it is impossible to hide it from the bronze mirror. Su Junming has never relaxed about his own safety. Be careful when sailing a 1,000-year-old ship, this was what Simu said to him most when he was exploring the world independently. Although more than a decade has passed, Su Junming still keeps these words in mind. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 443. Chapter 436 Black Dog. After 3 rounds of wine, 5 flavors of food. Are you satisfied with the banquet prepared by this king? Su Junming smiled faintly and nodded slightly. Your Majesty spent the money. Haha, as long as the real person is satisfied. There was a hint of cunning and greed in the eyes of the Lord of Fuyu. I heard that the real person was called the first Yuan Shendaxiu in Daong, and he even wiped out the Longjiang Shui tribe before. The lord of the country really pays close attention to Pandeo. He, I have heard that the dragon clan has many treasures, and today is a good day. I wonder if the master can bring out the treasures obtained from the Longjiang Shui clan to open the eyes of the whole Fuyu kingdom. People around him also looked at Su Junming. They have long heard of the Dragon Palace's reputation for its many treasures. Su Junming seemed not to see those expectant eyes, and his expression was calm. The war was fierce, the Dragon Palace was completely destroyed, and the treasures were turned into rubble. I'm afraid it will be difficult to satisfy the king's request. There was a trace of dissatisfaction on the face of the Lord of Fuyu. Does the real person have a magic elixir to prolong life? I am willing to buy it. There is naturally a magic elixir. Lord Fuyu's eyes lit up instantly. Please ask the real person to give it to me. I am willing to pay a high price. Su Junming smiled faintly, waved his hand, and a light yellow pill as big as a broad bean flew to the Lord of Fuyu. Just when the Lord of Fuyu looked excited and wanted to pick him up, the national master Yuzong, who was drinking next to him, suddenly said, "The real person is a great cultivator of Yuan Shen. If you are not willing to give me the king a high-level elixir, why bother fooling the king with a Dongjin-level elixir that even the innate monks disdain?" Dongjin-level elixir. Looking at the elixir in his hand, the anger on Li Yuan's face gradually swelled. He waved his hand and threw the elixir out. Damn it, Su Junming, how dare you tease me? With a cold look in his eyes, he waved his hand, and invisible energy flew through the air. With a pop sound, Li Yuan's scream instantly rang out in the hall. The left side of his face swelled visibly. The severe pain made Li Yuan, who had never suffered such a loss before, instantly become furious. He roared, his eyes blood red. Come here, get this demonic path for me. The soldiers didn't know the depth and ran straight towards Su Junming after hearing the order. Looking at the angry, curious, or coveted eyes around him, he sighed, shook his head and said, I thought that Fuyu country was stronger on the sea close to Daong and would have some knowledge, but I didn't expect that you are still so arrogant. His lips parted and he spoke calmly. Seal up. The Danshan sealing talisman shines brightly, and a mysterious spiritual light spreads rapidly with Su Junming as the center. Anyone swept by this halo of light will freeze, even the smallest atoms and molecules. Imperial Master Yuzong was shocked when he saw it, and just as he was about to run away, he found that the high-spirited man with a lustful face who came with Su Junming had already stopped in front of him. Hey, where are you going? You weren't poisoned. Kuei Niu opened his mouth and smiled. You really know nothing about the abilities of Yuan Shen monks. You are the soul. Before he finished speaking, he was enveloped by the spiritual light of the sealing talisman, and his whole person fell into a frozen state instantly. The aura of the sealing talisman seemed to bypass Kuei Niu spiritually, and soon enveloped the entire hall. Su Junming stood up, strolled to the side of Imperial Master Yuzong, looked at his frightened eyes, and stretched out his hand. A demon pill, plus a water blue double-stranded fork and a folding fan, flew out of his belly, and together with the magic bag on his waist, fell into his palm. In a flash of light, the body disappeared, replaced by a big snake with blue scales. Su Junming patted the green leather gourd on his waist and took the blue-scaled snake back. The suction force of the gourd spread out, and all the surrounding sea monsters with the aura of injustice were sucked in. He turned to look at Li Yuan, the leader of Fuyu Kingdom. As the leader of the country, you don't want to work diligently, care for the people, and govern the country. Instead, you favor the snake demon and frame Zhongliang. You really deserve to die. Master, let me kill this blind guy, Kuei Niu said. No. He stopped Kuei Niu and said, although this man deserves to be killed, as the leader of Fuyu State, he has the support of Fuyu State's national destiny. Killing him will harm our merits. Are we going to let this guy go? Of course not. Su Junming waved his hand, and a light spot flew out of Li Yuan's body and disappeared into Su Junming's hand. If I take away his spiritual soul, he will become a fool without a complete soul. I believe the people of Baiyo will elect a new king soon. What if the new king is as bad as? This is not something we need to care about. Su Junming shook his head. Heaven reincarnates and dynasties change. He can't change it, and he doesn't want to get involved. Let's go. What about the boy? Kuei Niu pointed at Chen Yuliang, who was also restrained. Let him be here. The unknown is more tempting. After the two left, it didn't take long for the seal to be released. Chen Yuliang hurriedly chased them out, but unfortunately Su Junming and Kuei Niu had already disappeared without a trace. Feeling something strange in his arms, he reached out and touched it, and a jade slip appeared. The spiritual consciousness is immersed, and the contents are reflected in the sea of consciousness. This is the practice notes of Shui's Hideo. Chen Yuliang's face showed ecstasy. With this notebook, his path to becoming a soul became much smoother instantly. Thank you Master Chongshan for this method. Chen Yuliang is grateful. The mighty voice came out with spiritual consciousness. Su Junming, who came to the downtown area, felt the sound, smiled lightly, and said nothing more. This kid really knows how to be grateful. Kuei Niu muttered something and quickly followed. Su Junming suddenly stopped and Kuei Niu, who couldn't dodge, almost hit him. After quickly stopping, he walked around Su Junming and looked ahead. A big black dog with thick bones and shiny fur appeared in front of him. Although this big black dog looks a bit extraordinary, there is no evil spirit about him. Master, what's wrong with this black dog? The black dog, who was lying on the ground and dozing, seemed to be awakened by his words. His huge dog eyes opened, and after a humane look at Su Junming and Kuei Niu, he suddenly stood up and ran towards the alley. Follow me. Although he didn't know why he, the master, was chasing a black dog, Kuei Niu didn't dare to neglect and quickly caught up with Su Junming. The two walked along the street. About a quarter of an hour later, they came to a wall made of blue bricks. Outside the red-tiled house. Judging from the stone lion placed at the door and the towering eaves, this is a home of Yinshi people. It's just that this family not only lacks the vitality that ordinary people should have, but instead exudes a strange air of death. The whole family is so quiet that it makes people feel chilly in their hearts. Su Junming walked to the front, and after a brief inspection, he walked over. Su Junming, who originally planned to knock on the door, frowned when he heard a shrill barking of a dog, and urged Hu Tianshen to perform his magic, and his figure disappeared instantly. When he appeared again, he had already arrived in the backyard. The big black dog was caught by several servants in thick net bags. Although the black dog was physically strong, it was not a demon after all. After struggling for a moment, it was pinned down, and then its limbs and mouth were trapped. A middle-aged man wearing a brown robe and a square hat walked over with a face full of hatred and a sharp knife in his hand. You evil deed, I, Luo Dake, feed you with good food and drink, and it's enough if you don't look after the home and care for the home. How dare you even eat my only son? When he said this, his tone was trembling, his eyes were blood red, and his words revealed endless hatred. Due to the exertion, the knuckles holding the steel knife were turning white. "That's the son I've been waiting for 20 years, sir, the only child of my Luo family. You beast, you really deserve to die." With a loud shout, accompanied by endless hatred, the steel knife was about to fall. But halfway through, the knife seemed to be frozen by an invisible force, unable to fall down. "Stop it!" The calm voice made everyone turn their heads subconsciously. A Taoist priest wearing a blue robe, carrying a bamboo staff, and a green gourd tied around his waist appeared in front of him. Soon, a big man wearing a purple robe, with his chest exposed and muscles tangled, suddenly appeared behind the Taoist priest. This scene put a look of fear on everyone's faces. If it hadn't been for broad daylight and the sun shining brightly, I would have shouted "ghost" twice, and then the birds and beasts would have dispersed. But even so, everyone was still frightened. The man who called himself Luo Dake even made a pop sound and sat down on the ground. "You, who are you?" "We are traveling Taoists passing by. We saw the evil spirits gathering here, so we came here specially to take a look." Hearing this, Luo Dake's expression relaxed. "Get up from the ground and bow to Su Junming." Luo Dake has met the Taoist priest. If he is negligent, he still looks forward to Hai Han. "You don't have to be polite, layman." He pointed at the tied black dog and said, "I wonder if this dog can be given to Pandeo." At the mention of the black dog, Luo Dake, who was a little scared just now, instantly turned red, with a deep anger on his face. "No." The tone was decisive. Su Junming sighed. This answer was what he expected. "Take a look at the black dog yourself." Su Junming flicked his fingers, and a flash of light entered Luo Dake's eyes. The latter instantly felt that his eyes were much brighter, and the world in front of him seemed to have been stripped of a veil, and everything became clearer. Thinking of the man's words, he turned his head and looked at the black dog tied to the ground. The scene before him made his expression suddenly change. On the smooth and shiny back of the black dog in the middle sat 8 slender babies. Compared with ordinary babies, the first 7 are only about the size of a watermelon, much smaller than a newborn baby. Only the last one is much larger than a normal baby. However, all the babies looked numb and stupid, as if they had no intelligence. Looking at them, an indescribable feeling rose up in Luo Dake's heart. It was kindness, regret, and sadness. He couldn't explain it clearly. They. Luo Dake trembled and trembled all over. Su Junming sighed. "They are all your children." Tears instantly fell from Luo Dake's eyes. An indescribable pain filled his heart. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 444. Chapter 437 Dead Baby. In the past 20 years, your wives and concubines have been pregnant, and each time they were stillborn before the 10th month of pregnancy. But you fed these stillborn fetuses to that black dog. It has eaten 7 of your children, and it has already hidden its anger and demonic nature. When your 8th child was born, although it survived, it had already realized the benefits of this kind of food, so when you don't while you were paying attention, it broke free of its chains and ate your 8th child. After listening to Su Junming's words, Luo Dake had already burst into tears. A 6-foot-tall man was crying at the helpless child next to him. There was endless regret in the cry. Su Junming sighed. 9 is the ultimate number. Fortunately, the black dog did not eat the 9th baby. Otherwise, with the support of the innate creation energy of 9 children, it would become an innate demon in one step, and the entire Luo family would be eaten by it. Even the people here will suffer. It's all my fault. If I had known this, I shouldn't have, Luo Dake, who was crying loudly, suddenly turned over and knelt down in front of Su Junming. Bang bang, several sounds in a row. Because of too much force, blood oozed from his forehead. Taoist, please use your magical power to save these poor children like me. Luo Dake is willing to give up his family and wealth to repay the Taoist. Seeing how miserable he was crying, Su Junming sighed slightly and raised his palm slightly. Along with the invisible strength, Luo Dake stood up involuntarily. Now that I'm here, Pandeo will naturally resolve this matter for you. I don't want you to waste your family and property, just let me take this black dog away. Luo Dake wiped his tears and regained his senses and said, Priest Black Dog can take him away, but my children. They were stillborn before they reached full term. Not only were they full of resentment, but their souls were also incomplete. After their bodies were eaten by the black dog, they were bound into its body. Now both parties are in conflict because of the black dog's magical power. It has become a symbiotic relationship. If you kill this black dog, children like you will be stunned. That's why Pandeo stopped you from killing it before. Luo Dake looked deeply at him and said, and this incident is not the dog's fault. It is just a beast and does not understand good and evil. If you hadn't fed it with a dead baby full of resentment and innate good fortune, it wouldn't have become what it is now. Luo Dake's face turned pale, with endless regret on his face. Taoist, I. At this moment, he was so confused and regretful that he couldn't say anything. Su Junming waved his hand. No need to say any more, you just need to remember that you need to always accumulate virtue and do good deeds in the future. Otherwise, you will not have any heirs in this life. Yes, Luo must remember the Taoist priest's teachings and do more good deeds. I hope you will remember what I said today. With a gesture of his hand, the rope binding the black dog disappeared. An invisible rope bound the black dog's neck. With a flash of light, the two people and the dog disappeared instantly. It came suddenly and disappeared quickly. If it weren't for the clear memories in my mind, I would almost think that everything was a dream. Arriving at the outskirts of Dingling Port, Kuei Niu shook his head as he looked at the black dog that Su Junming was holding in his hand, grinning but still unable to resist. Feeding dead babies to dogs, I really don't know what Luo Dake is thinking. You can go back and ask him again, Su Junming said. Hey, forget it. Old cows don't have that spare time. By the way, sir, what are you going to do with this beast? Are you going to keep it? The souls of these babies are too fragile and incomplete. Although I can restore them with my methods, it is too energy intensive, so it is better to let this black dog support them. They have become symbiotic. The stronger the black dog, the stronger the black dog will be. Their souls will also grow stronger until they reach perfection. Kuei Niu nodded, rubbed his chin and looked at the black dog. Master, this guy seems to have a trace of hellhound blood. The hellhound is the guardian beast of the underworld and is naturally capable of mastering the rules of the underworld. It seems like your bull's eye can see something else besides women. A trace of sarcasm appeared on Kuei Niu's face. His previous performance at the Fuyo State banquet was indeed too conspicuous. Master, I'm just a temporary disguise. It's best this way. If you let me know that you dare to act recklessly based on your cultivation, I will slap your bullwhip away. In one sentence, Kuei Niu instantly felt that there was air leaking from his crotch and it was also chilly. With his whole body full of alertness, he quickly caught up with Su Junming, his expression extremely obedient. Looking at the black dog being led by him. Although the resentment and innate good fortune in the body of the dead baby inspired the Hades bloodline hidden in the body and separated by unknown distances, he was still an uncultivated beast with a shallow foundation and mixed aura. If you wanted to give birth to a baby soul, you must give up the demon path and turn to Taoism. Thinking of this, Su Junming stretched out his hand and a grain of yellow rice flew out and sank in from the top of the black dog's head. Soon, all the resentment and evil spirits gathered in its body were swept away. In an instant, The snarling black dog calmed down, and there was a hint of intelligence in the ferocious dog's eyes. Give. The dog rope woven by Su Junming with spiritual energy fell into the hands of Kuei Niu. From now on, you will use your spiritual energy to comb its meridians for half an hour tomorrow, and recite the Tai Shang Ling Bao Sutra for saving people for half an hour. Don't be lazy. Seeing his twinkling eyes, Kuei Niu reluctantly agreed. Woof woof. The dog barked, causing Kuei Niu to glare at him. If I bother you Mr. Niu again, be careful that Mr. Niu will kill you with a thunderbolt. Ouch, the black dog was attracted by Kuei Niu's powerful aura. He whimpered and crawled to the ground with his tail between his legs. If you dare to abuse it, I will make you carry a weight of 100,000 kilograms and run twice around the Daihuang mountain cave. A faint voice came from the front, and Kuei Niu trembled in his heart. It's just a load of 100,000 kilograms. If you run twice around the Daihuang mountain cave, which already covers an area of nearly 120,000 miles, then you still have to risk your life. Grandma, now the dog is riding on the cow's head. It's really unfair in the world. Muttering, he led the dog and caught up with Su Junming. Whoosh! The heavy rain fell from the sky, making the leaves crackle and ring. Countless raindrops merged into trickles, gathering more and more, and finally turned into a rushing turbid current, rolling across the land, and finally merged into the sea. A warm light emitted from a stone house built entirely with earthen methods dispelled the cold and illuminated the room. Su Junming sat cross-legged in silence, while Kuei Niu over there was holding a ruler and giving lessons to the black dog. On the three luas, above the Dalu, they are all empty. There are natural 5 clouds. Its color is pale and yellow, and it is called Huang Tian. Above the yellow sky, its color is green, and its name is Kang Tian. Above the Kang Tian, it is located in the mysterious sky. The accumulated emptiness becomes green, and it is called the blue sky. Snapped. The sound of the ruler falling. Damn dog, listen carefully. Oh, woof woof. Angry, unwilling, and aggrieved, the dog barked, but it was quickly suppressed by Kuei Niu. Teaching Taoism to a beast who has only basic intelligence and has not yet become a demon is no less difficult than teaching a baby who is babbling to read. But it's also an exercise. Kuei Niu, who is proficient in the way of thunder, has a character as violent as thunder. Such a temperament needs to be tempered. Su Junming ignored the conversation between the dog and the cow. He had seen this situation many times and had long lost his curiosity. Looking at the rainy night outside the window, Su Junming, who was quietly admiring it, frowned for a moment and looked straight to the southeast. Interesting. As soon as he took a step, his figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, it was already the top of a locust tree. The pouring rain reached 3 feet above Su Junming's head, and was blocked by invisible strength, and then slid down from left to right. In the rain, which could only see what was happening 10 meters away, faint cries could be heard. Papa, the sound of the whip twitching penetrated the raindrops and reached Su Junming's ears. Hurry up, hurry up. If you delay the city god, I will question you. Accompanied by shouts and curses, a pair of government servants wearing official uniforms, holding swords astride each other, came from a distance, holding down a group of nearly 100 ghosts. City god. I haven't met any gods in Daong. I didn't expect to meet them in Fuyu. Master. Kuei Niu followed with the black dog. As a Yuan Shen monk, he also saw ghost soldiers and ghosts coming from a distance in the heavy rain. As ghosts, although the rain is heavy, it has little effect on them. And when the yin energy is strong, it is more suitable for their activities. Woof woof. The black dog barked in the direction of the ghost. It has the blood of Hades in its body, and it has been taught by Kuei Niu every day for a month, and Su Junming also gave it a yellow bud pill every day. Although he hasn't transformed into a demon yet, his foundation has been laid very solidly. It is not surprising that it can detect the extremely dense yin qi in the distance. Walking in front of the ghosts was a tall ghost servant wearing official uniform and carrying a wild goose feather sword. Where did the wild dog come from? Dutou, Lingzhou City is another 120 miles ahead. How long until daybreak? There's still 1 hour left. 1 hour is enough. Let the brothers hurry up and finish this mission. I'll treat the brothers to a drink. As I said before, we'll get to Lingzhou City before dawn and treat us to drinks. They are all very loyal. Haha, Lao Chen, have decided to drink this drink. The ghost guards immediately started making noise. The men worked harder and harder, whipping the stragglers and rushing towards Lingzhou City. Looking at the ghosts passing by quickly. Sir, what's so interesting about a bunch of brats? It followed Su Junming in Uncle Ju's world. At that time, his benefactor had a very close relationship with the underworld, and he had seen countless ghosts. Of course the kid is nothing to look at, but the city god is the real boss here. I have something to ask him, sir. Let's go and follow him. As soon as he took a step, his figure disappeared instantly. Kuei Niu's steps faltered and he also chased after him. In his opinion, although meeting the city god was extremely boring, it was much simpler than teaching this stupid dead dog.